and good evening. Welcome to the June 8th, 2021 Ware Park and Recreation Commission meeting. We'll call the meeting to order. We will introduce, I'll introduce members that are with us at the moment. We have Pamela Moole, member, Denise Purington, member. We have Lisa Grulian, director and member. And we also have John Van, member and ex officio. And we will, first things first, move to a couple of amendments on the agenda. We are going to be adding non-public at the end of the evening to talk about a few incidences at the lake. And that's all we have for amendments to the agenda. So first we have public comment, and then I will, after that, I'll move to the Ware Historic Society and the Eagle Scout project after that. So that would either be Clay or Suzanne, whoever would like to speak first.
I guess I'll go first. I'm Clay Creasy, and I'm the director.
Hey, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Darn it.
Let me put up my volume.
Okay.
Whoops, and then I clicked off a link. All right. Can everybody else hear Clay?
Anyways, okay, good.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, my name is Clay. I'm the director at the Ware Library, and I just saw that for several library issues on the agenda. So I thought, hey, I should probably drop in, see if I can answer any questions. Oh,
super. Okay. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, I think I have you on here just in general of talking about what we're going to be doing together. So super. All right. Thank you. Suzanne?
You're referring to me?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. I'm Suzanne Cowie, and I'm a resident of Ware and a neighbor of Chase Park, a resident here for 40 years. I was reading a lot of the concerns about the numbers of police calls that are being sent to Chase Park for people that are using the park when the gate is closed. So I was a little concerned at the fact that we've had a stretch of 90-degree weather, which is not unusual at this time of year, for the town residents to be able to access Chase Park, even during closed times in the past. And I realize this is 2021. I realize that people's focuses are very different in the town of Ware. But I think we need to kind of look at a little fairness as to what's going on and what kind of plans are being, what thoughts are in process to deal with this situation.
Right.
In all fairness, it's the only access that the residents of Ware have to Lake Horace. Other accesses are all private. And we have never had issues. People in the town have always been mindful of carry in, carry out. And if it is an issue, I don't think that the people that become aware of it would mind tending to their neighbor to say, you know, it's time to pick up after yourself. But I think we need to have a bit of fairness happening in town. And I believe the police have important issues in the town to address, but I really don't think the people going in the water in 90-degree weather should be an issue. And so my thoughts would be open the gates, you know, during the daytime when the park is not open because of school, but allow the moms and the young kids that get out of school after, you know, to be able to access the park safely. And keep your bathrooms locked. That was always the reason for the gate to be closed. And residents in the town always were able to access the water without police interference. And I believe that the Park Commission has the ability and the power, you know, to allow the residents access to it. Right now, we've got 8 weekdays left before the park is officially open for the season. And, you know, as a reasonable resident here for over 40 years, 40, and I use that park a lot. I've been the water safety manager down there for forever. I am the mom to all the swimming people that are here and Ware. And a number of my students sit on selectmen's boards, park commissions, teachers in schools, their parents, their grandparents. And I think as a public appeal to the residents of Ware, and in all fairness, and their only access to the water at Lake Horace is Chase Park. So please consider opening the gates during the weekdays, weather permitting, to allow the residents access to the water safely.
It's definitely something we can consider and talk about. I do know from some personal research a few years back for myself, before I even joined the board, that the lease that is tied to the lake does require there to be gates and supervision and policing. That is, and sanitation. And with the bathrooms being locked, where do people go to the bathroom? We do clean up dog feces almost daily from the park and the beach. So it is kind of an ongoing, we've had vandalism at other parks with locks being broken and cut, and things are changing. I definitely agree with you, and it's definitely something we can discuss, but there's a lot to it, unfortunately.
I do understand. I've been in this business dealing with parks and recreation for many, many years. So those are not new issues. It's just, I think some of those can be retaliatory because they're not being granted access. And it's just all in fairness. I think there should be, we've only got 8 weekdays left for school. So please consider that. And, you know, I do understand locked bathrooms, but I think we need to be fair here. So consider that, and consider the fact that people can police themselves as well. If that is an issue, I don't have a problem being down at the park myself. So if you need an
Right.
attendant, I'd be more than happy to step up.
Well, that is something that is definitely on consideration as far as a volunteer going to attend the park. Did any other members or public have any questions or comments about Suzanne's concerns?
I do. Yeah, I've never been to the park, so I don't really understand the issues that are involved, but I'm just concerned because because I saw on the agenda something about the library that the persons attending our story time at the lake they were going to need passes. And I'm just concerned that those passes will, at any time with a library event that you add an extra layer, like something else, an extra action that our patrons have to take, it will greatly reduce the turnout. And so I don't want to have any impediment towards our patrons attending these events, because I think Stories at Lake, I think we have one scheduled every week for the month of July. So.
Right, we were trying to be accommodating to people that did not want to pay the fee to come to the lake just for story time. But we're not able to police that they leave when story time is over. So we thought if there were library passes, that was the best thought that we could come up with at the time, was if there were library passes that granted them the free access during that story time, so they didn't feel that so they did not have to purchase an entrance fee. So we're trying to not make a financial hardship. And at the same time, we're trying not to give away free day passes. So it's kind of a meeting in the middle. And I'm definitely open to other options and other ideas. So that is definitely something we can talk about. Did anybody else have anything to address with Suzanne's concerns?
I just want to say that I think a lot of people don't understand. And so having worked at the park as a teenager myself, and then also now working there and supervising people there, I just want to add that I think what a lot of people don't understand is that you're putting yourself out there for, we've had staff that have been harassed. We've had staff who have been physically threatened. We've had staff who were sexually threatened last year. We've had twice on Sunday alone, we had people not do their business in the toilet, and they instead did it on the bathroom floor. The neighbors who are surrounding the beach area are complaining of watching people do their business on the beach, as well as other things. It's not just dog feces that's there, it's human feces that's there. And the lease does state that we have to keep it sanitary. So and I don't have the lease in front of me right now, but I remember that there was something about it being sanitary, gated, and policed. And I
We
know
used to
that
have
there,
pit toilets
yes, I
available to
remember
us,
that.
and of course, that
And
was
that was
part of the
then.
lease. Yes,
Yeah, that was then.
exactly. So,
Yeah, that
you
was
know,
then. And
how do
even
we
then,
adapt?
people did
Mhm.
stuff in the dressing rooms. I remember when we had those changing rooms, walking in myself, and there would be stuff on the ground sometimes.
Well, I know.
So
When you deal with the general public, there are always those disgusting issues. They're not new to the industry. It's just more apparent because you guys have to deal with it. And I dealt with it back when I lifeguarded at Echo Lake in Franconia Notch. And we had pit toilets that were easily accessible. Unlock your bathrooms, you know, you can at
It
least
takes-
offer that part.
So we do clean them every half an hour when the park is open. And it's at every half an hour, even with 2 bathrooms being cleaned every half an hour. Twice we had to clean up poop off of the floor in one of the bathrooms on Sunday alone. So I doubt that unlocking the bathroom, and I'm just trying to be realistic. I'm trying to be realistic. So
Portable toilet.
yeah. And we actually had one there last year, and that did not help. Because we did have one that was in there, and yeah, anyway, that was a whole other deal.
Well,
But
so
yeah, it's very difficult. I wish
8
people would follow the
weekdays.
rules. Yeah, I
Well,
wish people would
then-
follow the rules, but they're
then
not.
please have the police stand down and not, like I said, just open the gate or keep the gate closed and have them please stand down and let the people in and leave them alone. That's my only suggestion.
It would also mean contacting every neighbor and telling them not to call the police when they see something going on also.
Well, maybe we can inform the police that they have the right to inform the people that are complaining that the park is allowed the people to come in.
It's not though, because nobody's supposed to go in when the gates close. So that's the problem. And unfortunately, you know, we're asking staff to do a lot. They're cleaning up dog poop and people poop and other stuff. And some of that was there when I was there, but we have a lot more people making use of that place. And, you know, it would be great. In an ideal world, you are so right, Suzanne. I would love to have that place open all the time. My kids have asked me 3 nights this week if we could go down there, and I'm like, no, we can't.
Have the police stand down. That's all. I realize that you guys are setting rules that will be etched in stone. Your non-resident use fees have gone beyond reason in my mind, but I just look at the fact that there's got to be a point of fairness in here. So, you know, for the few people that will try to go in there, and this will happen, I can guarantee that. Let's just de-escalate the situation because I really don't think it serves anybody. So let you guys come to that resolution. But thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much for coming. Not many people actually step up and give suggestions in person and tell us how they feel. So thank you. We really do appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. And again, you know, I'm a water safety specialist. It's been my life's work. I've lived in this town a long time. I was on the Park and Recs Commission. At going on 70, I want to enjoy my retirement years, but I am also a member of the community. And I feel that my voice does need to be heard. I try to use it gently, confidently, but reasonably as well. So thank you for listening. And again, you know, let's be fair. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank
Pam, did
you.
you have something you wanted to add, Pam?
I have a question for Clay.
Okay.
He had mentioned that he was concerned that the story time attendees would have to pay a fee to get into the park.
No, to get a free pass.
Okay, but most, if not all, I think the residents that would be attending story time may already have their season pass. Are you expecting like a lot of out of towners to be attending?
No, we're
Okay.
not. So, it's just that is, again, this is my understanding, because I've only been direct, I've been here less than a year, that traditionally we have these story times at the lake and we just let people show up and we trust that they leave. I'm just concerned that if we add, if we make it to where, oh, you have to stop by the library first to pick up a pass, that's going to get confusing for people. Because we try to, like, pretty much everything we do, it does not, we don't require registration for any of our activities. So
Well-
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Clay, maybe on that point, maybe it's a pass they get at the gatehouse and it stays on their dashboard so we can see when their hour is up.
Okay,
I
that sounds
mean,
great.
maybe
Yeah.
something like that, because anybody that has a pass, it's not required. There's absolutely no, if they've already purchased the pass, it's not required. I just don't, and we're having more and more abuse of the pass situation. Every year it seems to go up. People that move out of town and try to show us expired registration. It's unbelievable how many
And
people
our
try
staff's
to.
getting beat up too. Our staff's really getting beat up about it. So that's why.
Oh, Lisa, you cut out a little.
Oh, I was just saying that our staff is getting beat up about it too. I mean, our manager was called some really bad words the other day. And our kids have been harassed about it. So we, want to make it harder for people.
Yeah. Yeah, and we can talk about it a little bit more too further on. That's fine. We can bounce a few more ideas around. I would like to talk to, unfortunately, as far as the board goes, only one of us is an actual physical member of the staff at the actual park. So I would have to consult the supervisor too, and the adult supervisor at the park, and see what's going to work for her and her staff, and come to a decision. So it's definitely something we can talk about for ideas with the story time.
Right, yeah, and I like the idea of having to pass at the gate. That sounds really easy. I just need to change some information. Just be sure to pick up the pass at the gate, and then also if there's a time requirement, so the time start at 11. Is it like 10:30? Or is the earliest they can arrive, something like that.
Right.
As long as I know those details, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Naomi, can you let Dave into the meeting? I guess he's having difficulty. Did you hear me, Janine?
I heard you, Naomi. There's Dave. Okay. So we have Carl, I believe, has joined us. Let me know if that's wrong. Are you here for public comment?
It's Michelle. It's just my husband's name on there.
You said it's Michelle, you said?
Yeah, Michelle Hallstrom.
Okay. All right, Michelle. Are you here for public comment?
Well, I was here to listen to the meeting. We just moved here, so we just arrived mid-May, and wanted to know, is it always that you don't open the park until, regularly until school gets out? And people couldn't get their boats into the water, so there was, all the people in We Are Where were very mad that they couldn't get their boats in the water. And because there's no way to get your boat in the water if you don't have one of those private ones, so.
Yeah. So to answer your question, Michelle, so welcome to town. And
Thanks.
hopefully you can hear me. To
Yeah, I
answer your
can hear
question, yes, this is how we normally do it. We have a very, very small budget, and we have a very hard time hiring staff on what we are able to pay. And these are our typical hours, and our typical days that we're open for the boat launch and for the park.
We put out on the town website in February that we're taking applications, and the application process is open to absolutely anybody. There's no age requirements. We choose no one under the age of 14, but typically, like Lisa stated, due to the starting wage, it's a starting first-time job for 99% of our employees, which means they're all in school. So they cannot work the gate during school hours. They can't even necessarily work the gate after school hours, because while they're in school, the labor department has quite the requirement of limit of hours that they are allowed to work while they're in school actively. So we do open weekends before starting Memorial Day weekend, hopefully to get people's boats in before the beach, before school is out. So we do the best we can. If, like Lisa said, if we had a bigger budget or more employees that weren't tied to such school, we could hopefully expand hours. But if the weather wasn't nice, it would be absolutely dead during the week. So it's kind of a toss up with the weather gamble.
Has there ever been any like retired people that would, like volunteer to like have it open for so many hours, or they have to be Parks and Recreation employees in order to do that?
So in order to volunteer for the town, you do have to fill out a form, and you do have to be interviewed by the Board of Selectmen to become a volunteer for the town. No one, to my knowledge, Lisa can correct me, she's been around much longer than I have. I only have 15 years in town. But to my knowledge, no volunteers have come forward and said that they would be willing to staff the gatehouse and the park and the bathrooms and police it appropriately during the week or before we have the employees. So it's definitely if people were actually interested, it's something we could look into and see, if that's allowed. If you don't have to be a paid employee to be actually at the park, if it would be allowed for volunteers to be there. So it's something we could look into if people did step up. It has not happened to my knowledge yet. Lisa, has anybody in the past volunteered to?
Not that I'm aware of. So, I worked there when I was 15, and that was a long time ago.
So
Right.
has there ever, like, thinking about the gates, I know that you have a gate like right when you enter, and that would block the ability to put your boat in. Have they ever looked at moving the gate so that whilst you couldn't use the park, you could have the gate open so people, and possibly put in some kind of RFI? It's some kind of like only if you're aware resident that you could open up the gate to put your boat in the water.
So
Versus-
we inspect every single boat for invasive aquatic species. So we have to look for plants, and we are also now supposed to be looking for another one that I've been told about, but I don't have the information fully on. So every single boat and trailer that goes into that lake is inspected. So we do need to have that staffed. I know that there are some other private, privately owned places that are there, but that maybe don't check. I have no idea. But from our perspective, we make sure that we're checking those boats to make sure that they can go in and keep our lake as clean as possible.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, my son-in-law told me that there's something in Massachusetts right now that's really invasive that they're checking for. I don't know. I can't tell you what it was, but it is something that's very invasive in Massachusetts. I know that much.
Yeah, we have a long list of plants that we have to look for. So we just check to make sure there's no plants on the bottom of boats and trailers before they go in.
So, yeah. You might not know what plant it is. You just got to make sure no plant is on it, right?
I don't want to see anything there.
I'm glad there's a car wash in town now if they have to go wash it off before they can go in the water.
And the other thing to remember is that we are, unfortunately, this is what's happened to other places too, right? So we used to be open, and we used to have these really, I talked to a senior who I would have loved to have let into the park, the other day at a different rate. But other towns, all of our surrounding towns have now closed up their places because they couldn't have, taxpayers weren't able to come in or they were having problems. So now we have more and more people coming, and instead of, we are still open to other towns, but it got to a point where town residents couldn't even come in. So
It's crowded.
yeah, and quite frankly, there were people from out of state and from out of town who were here last weekend, last week, and had gone into the gates and were causing problems. So the neighbors had called. So they weren't even people from town. Sometimes it's people from town. Lots of times I'm sure it's people from town. But a lot of time it's not. So, leaving it open is definitely, I don't know. We'd have to try to figure that out.
Glen Lake is,
Well, we can't leave it open because of the lease, but I mean, getting it staffed to be able to, even our paid employees don't want to be there being harassed. So.
Yeah.
Glen Lake is a body of water just south of us in Goffstown, and it used to be open to everyone. And they recently, I don't remember if it's 2 years or 3 years ago, residents only of Goffstown can park on the street and use the beach area. And we saw a very large influx of people from Manchester that had used to come to Glen Lake and started coming up to us. And it really did get crowded, like Lisa mentioned, where the parking lot was just really full, sometimes at 10 o'clock in the morning for, good number of hours. So we're just trying to make it happy. And to also address one thing, we did used to allow, and this is years that it was a practice, it was happened, boats that were just going in only for the season to be docked, not an in and out fishing trip for the day or anything. And it was pretty much shut down by all the townspeople feeling it was not fair to allow the boat ramp to be open early just for the one way going to dock my boat for the season, that it needed to be everybody or nobody. So we unfortunately at that point, because we were going to volunteer to do that, that wasn't even going to be a staff situation. That was going to be us on our own time. And so it was definitely shut down. And so that was something that we used to try to do, but that was kind of tough. So just a little history. Did you have any other questions, Michelle? Or thoughts?
No, I just want one comment. We found it very delightful. We went down, we brought in our boat on Saturday. We're waiting for our dock yet, so we had to take it in and out, but it was nice that there was only 4 people in line on Saturday, and the boat and the lake didn't seem too crowded at all. Like, we didn't have any trouble, going up and down the thing. And so I hope it stays that way. I don't know if it gets more crowded as the and we went to the beach on Sunday, and it was nice too. There was lots of room for people. I mean, it wasn't even crowded. Well, we went at 3, so people were probably somewhat already leaving, or that because it closed at 4.
Right.
Do they go around? We left before 4. Do they go around and have to tell people that it's closed? I mean, Lisa, I'm interested. Do you get flack when you're saying that the thing's closing?
No, pretty much when people have paid and have come in, and they know, because we try to tell them at the gate. It's more so when people are in there trespassing that people get upset. So, we've definitely had people have gone in and hey, you're in here drinking beers and there's beer cans all over the place. You need to clean that up. That people get mad about that kind of thing when they've been approached, or people who are breaking other rules typically. But lots of times when when you go in and you just explain, hey, the park's closing, they're good about it. Plus, we don't normally close at 4 on Sundays. That's just because with kids working with school nights and kids working, there's rules. So, and also all of our adult staff all have full-time jobs. So I'm a teacher, so I was there Sunday afternoon from 12 to 4, but I'm a teacher, so I need to be at work the next day. So,
right.
So it normally will be open until 8.
Okay.
All right, okay. So moving on, we do have a long agenda tonight, so we have one more person. It looks like Chrissy has joined us for public comment. Hi, Chrissy. If you'd like to unmute, and if you had any questions or suggestions, or if you just wanted to listen, let us know.
Hi, so my name's Chrissy. If you haven't, I think I've recognized some of you. I've seen you, especially through sports, but I am the co-leader of the Daisy Girl Scout troop, soon to be Brownie and Daisy, 61281. We just did a park, the park name is, Bolton. You were
Park.
Bolton. Thank you.
Yep.
Sorry. So, we just did that park cleanup. What amazed me was how quick it just went right back to normal. It definitely bothers me. Honestly, it blindsided me and the troop as well. We were disheartened. We understand it's not you guys' fault, but we definitely want to try and help the best we can as a troop and try and maybe remedy the situation if we can. We did speak to Janine about possibly putting trash cans there, which I guess was not any kind of solution whatsoever. It didn't help. In fact, it just made it worse. We did talk about, she did say that they are putting up cameras, which was another idea we had, and some signs, which you guys are already on it, but definitely wanted to represent the troop and express that we want to help in any way we can. All the kids love that park. All their friends love the park. And we just want to be there and try to keep it as clean as possible. Because some of the stuff that was coming out of the woods, I mean, if you're wondering where the teenagers go at night, I think we found it, to be
If they're
honest.
not at the lake, they're at Bolton Park?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we know.
Your pick.
And so just before you cleaned that up, I had cleaned it.
Lisa, we lost you a little bit there for a minute. All right, Lisa, we might have to wait for your comments later. We lost her. Trying really hard. All right, and Chrissy, we have a little bit later too. I don't know how long you want to stay, but a little bit later we are gonna talk about Bolton Park a little bit more.
Sorry.
We lost
So
you, Lisa.
just before the Girl Scouts had cleaned up, I had cleaned up around the dumpster and it got completely trashed. I spent an hour and a half down there cleaning. Just apparently I'm having trouble. Yeah, I can still hear you just fine.
Okay. We got a little bit of your talking about cleaning up around the dumpster.
Hello.
So cute.
All right. Okay, so unless you have anything else to add at the moment, Chrissy, you're welcome to hang out and we'll get a little more to Bolton Park later, but I'll move on with the agenda. I don't see any more public comment.
Well, the only thing I would maybe add to that is we can get you, the dumpsters are now locked at Bolton. So we can get you a key to the lock so that you could then, if you guys were cleaning up down there, instead of having to drag the trash all the way out, you could just take it over and we can get you a key so you can get in to throw the trash into that dumpster.
We definitely can. The dumpster does open a little bit so that you can put small things in. It's just whole bags that don't go in.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely talk to the other leader and see if we can, because I've already mentioned to her that I do want to bring the girls back there to clean it up, but at the same time, I feel like I don't know how much help that would be at this time because of how quickly it went. So I wanted to talk to you guys about hopefully getting some sort of solution.
Right.
But yes, I will reach out to Janine and see next time if we can get something scheduled in the coming weeks and months to have the girls back there to clean.
Absolutely. I mean, it is, other than appointing people to be down there constantly cleaning, it's kind of a chipping in when you can, I think. Absolutely. All right, so the next thing, sorry if I'm cutting public comment a little short so we can move on. The next thing on our agenda is Rhonda, thank you so patiently for waiting from the Ware Historic Society. If you'd like to take your turn, please.
Okay, I will. I'm Rhonda Gregg, and I live on Quaker Street here in Ware. Thank you for letting me talk to all of you about what we want to propose. For years, we did the Children's Christmas Party, and we did it in cooperation with the library, but that has stopped now. We still would like to participate with it, but it would be good if we could have another group in town work with us on it. So the date for it is December 5th. We always do it the first Sunday of December. And what's included in that, if any of you have been there with your children, you might know what it involves. We have a little food area in the back, and we have people that cook and bake for all of that. We have some crafts off to the side, and we have that so that as the kids arrive and their parents, they can have goodies to eat, and then they can come and make a craft as well. It keeps them self-entertained. Then we also have a children's auction that we started several years ago, and the members put little kids items in baskets, and then the kids can buy chances for $0.25. It's kind of popular. We started it about 3 or 4 years ago, and it got quite popular. We also have entertainment. We have paid for that entertainment. Some entertainment's more successful than others. The one that seems to go over the best is always that animal group out near the coast. Kids love them. They bring those live snakes and whatever, and they love it. Porcupines, whatever. But that's the only cost to all of this, is that entertainment. And in the past, the Historical Society has always paid that, by the way. Then Santa arrives, and we have always somebody lined up who will do that for us. Sometimes we'll sing a few kind of like jingle bells and things like that while Santa's arriving. And then Neil likes to have anyone left over after that go out, and we light the Christmas tree. So that's kind of what's going on. It's about 2 hours long. And the only thing I will add, because I've been in charge of it, not last year, we didn't do it, but for several years prior to that, is that I worried that someone from the fire department was going to come pay us a visit. We have way too many people in town hall, and I don't know if we resume it, if that will be a problem or not, but should you want to work with us on it, I'm willing to talk with someone at the middle school or the elementary school to see if we could use their auditorium instead of the town hall, since it just doesn't fit everybody. When you get all the parents and all the kids, and then, you know,
All the animals.
yeah, and the animals, yeah, and the people that come with the animals, it got very, very crowded, and I was concerned the last couple of years I was in charge of it. So I know you probably want to talk about this. You can ask me some questions if you'd like, and you probably want to talk about it as your own group on the side. It doesn't have to be in person right now. But if you did want to do it with us, I would be happy with Helene to meet with your representatives in the fall so that we could have it all planned and ready to go. And you know, you can ask me questions now, but I think you probably want to discuss it in non-public or whatever else.
I have a question.
Yes, Lisa.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I have a question. So I'm so sorry. I might have missed this because my internet was cutting out. So I moved to a different location, and that's why I'm not doing video now too, because I think it's causing a problem. But is there something specific you were looking for help with?
Yeah, what are your needs? That's what I was going to ask.
Yes, we actually considered not doing it at all, period. But we talked at our last meeting, and I said, I think it's one of the events that the families and the kids look forward to. And if we're out of the COVID situation, I think we should do it. My background is education for 50 some years. So like you, Lisa, my heart's in what we do with kids. So I would hate to see this disappear. If we don't want to do entertainment, just have somebody do a big fat sing along, it would be fun. But anyway, our interest is just to have some other group help us. We have, like you do, the board of directors, and not everyone wants to come and work this with us. Just a few people are willing to. So we feel better if we have someone. I know one year I had Helene and Sherry here at my house because we wanted to prepare the crafts for the different age groups. We don't want a 3-year-old doing the same thing as a 12-year-old. So we were preparing everything so it would go pretty quickly for them.
Right.
Any help, that we can get, and if we could iron that out, if you wanted to meet with Helene and I later on this summer, I would, we'd be happy to do that with you.
So it sounds kind of like you're thinking possibly, kind of set up help and kind of just, chipping in and that kind of thing. And it looks like Clay posted that the library can help again. Now that we have a new director, seems to be wanting to be able to chip in with that. Is financial contribution something you're considering as far as the entertainment goes? Is there a financial need, or is it more actual bodies willing to be there and help?
Yeah, I think financially we're okay with it.
Okay.
Paying for the entertainment. It runs about $200 to $250 usually. And
That's not
and if
bad.
you get the animal folks, everybody's happy. But I have to do that ahead of time. The children's auction, it's just people, dropping things off or giving them to a director. The food, it's nice to have some people behind the food and people bringing some goodies that everyone can eat.
Rhonda, I have a question. And I did actually, a couple of years ago, volunteered when I was on the Historical Society. How many members do you have in the Historical Society right now, beside the board?
I don't know that answer. We've been, I could pull my stuff out, but it's
Could you take out?
it's in that pile. I have piles everywhere. But
Is it 5? Is it 20? Is it?
oh no, it's well above that, Denise. Yeah. I know that we're planning an event for October, and it's the 50th anniversary coming up of the Historical Society. So we hope to, we've contracted with the Humanities to Go program to have a speaker come, and then the stone building will be open before and after so that people can go in and see the artifacts and things. But we have quite a few people, when you say how many are not board of directors that are kind of there to help out, we have quite a few people, I would say about 20, who have volunteered to be docents and, learn about those artifacts and be able to talk to students who might come in at the end of the school year, or fourth graders especially, and the public when we have that open.
It is definitely something we will talk about. Did you have another question, Denise, or no?
Nope, that was it.
Okay. It is definitely something we'll talk about. And if it is something that we, choose to move forward with, we can reach out to you. And if Clay is interested in having the library see if they can help, we'll definitely include him in the emails going forward.
Okay, that sounds good, Janine. Right.
And
Thank you,
we-
Clay.
We have holiday activities on our September agenda.
We do.
do.
We do.
We're trying to do a few things too.
Sounds like it'll be a big agenda. So anyway, Janine, just email me and Clay, and if you want to help us in any way, we will take any help we can get, because it is a big event for us.
Right.
Rhonda, it sounds like it's wonderful. I think I might have possibly gone when my kids were younger. There's 4 of us and we all work full time and we all have families.
There's 5 now.
Well, wait, no, there's 5 of us. One of us is retired
It's true. She won't even
One of us
be
is
here
retired.
Christmas time.
So I'm just trying to rack my brains about how I'd be able to help, maybe doing some things ahead of time, like in October before like life gets crazy with holidays would be really good. So if you have ideas, then that's probably when I'd have availability.
And that's-
Not that I couldn't help, but I know,
We're all
yeah, I know
trying
what my
to-
schedule's like.
Yeah. Lisa, that would be very helpful, like with those crafts, you know, to help pre-make them and maybe discuss what we could do actually with I have 4 age groups that I worked with. So yeah, that would be helpful.
Can I
Well,
say
Chrissy-
something?
Yep, go ahead, Christy.
Hi. So I would love to have the troop come and help out with, especially setting up the crafts. I'm still kind of like on the fence about them helping while they're there, because honestly, their attention span, I think, is going to go straight to those animals or the crafts. But to get them involved in that would be something that we would definitely be interested in as well.
The before setup part, not the during.
Probably, yeah. I could see it now.
Chrissy, the crafts don't take place while the entertainment is going on. They're done.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, I understand that the younger group doesn't
It
have
is.
the attention span of the older ones. Yeah.
Yeah, if they were like 10 or 11, 12, I would definitely say sign them up, but they're still 5, 6, 7 years old. So they're still,
Or 8.
I can't go any further in that, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
But I
So-
can definitely include you in the email going forward when we, with enough, it sounds like we have enough help, we'll be able to do something.
Yeah, that'll be nice. So the date we have set is December 5th, and that first Sunday always has worked well.
Yep. It sounds like your biggest hurdle, like you said, location sounds like the most important thing, and the middle school would be absolutely wonderful. I know that the Boy Scout troop that my son's in has not been able to meet in the middle school this past season, and they were hoping through the summer with the board that maybe protocols would change for outside groups coming in. So fingers crossed that you could work, because I also heard through the grapevine that they're not really even sure when they're opening the old town hall yet. So
Yes,
That's
that's
why-
what I heard as well.
it'd be really good if you were able to even start talking to the middle school even sooner, you know, maybe if you could get it on their school board agenda, you know, for them to start discussing it now, because I'm afraid if you wait till September, you know, to start talking about the location, that might be.
Yeah, that's good.
The only thing the school would require in order to have something that had animals of that nature would be an insurance binder that named the school as the insured. As part, like it's the same thing you would have to provide to the town, that you have insurance in case something happens, and that would be the school's assurance that they wouldn't be stuck with a bill to repair anything. But it's very easy to get in to use the building. You just send the facility form to me, and the principal signs it, and then I put you on the schedule.
Oh,
Although I would
Really
say,
easy.
having been through it, the school's it's difficult to get on the calendar if you're not on there already. The whole,
But it depends on what the activity is. Something of this nature, Denise, is not like it would be in the cafeteria. It wouldn't be something that would take up, like
Yeah.
what pickleball was trying to do. Was the gym is more active than the cafeteria.
I was wondering if you looked at Austin Hall. They've been advertising. They have a pretty large area.
Osborne Hall?
Yeah, because I've seen some public advertisements that they're looking for people to use the hall and rent.
We were just there for the Boy Scout troop. I think that's almost the same size as the old town hall. I really
Yeah,
think they're pretty close. But Pam was definitely saying that the auditorium is not booked like the gym is, as far as how many activities and practices and teams and sharing that. So hopefully that would be good, but sooner rather than later would just be my suggestion, but.
A good one, thank you.
Wonderful. Rhonda. Unless you have other questions for us or anybody else has another question, we'll get in touch soon.
Okay, and I'm going to leave the meeting then.
All right.
All righty. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Night.
Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, that's next up on our agenda. We have an Eagle Scout project to be presented from Josh Moore. Hello, Josh. Thanks for staying with us.
You're welcome.
All right, you can introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about why you're here.
So hi, as Janine said, my name is Josh Mole. I'm a Life Scout, not an Eagle Scout yet. I'm a Life Scout from 424 and 529, 424 in Merrimack, 529 here. And I set out for an Eagle Scout project for an information kiosk at Le Chase Park so that people can see the rules clearly at the front instead of like having to squint and see it small text.
Were you able to, I think you were considering meeting with Lisa down at the park to look at location. Was that something that happened? You did? What
Yeah.
did you guys, what was the ideas?
You know the bike, you know, like the bike rack?
Yep.
Little bike, yeah, it's gonna be like right in front of that.
Okay, so
Like where that
really,
is.
even kind of before the gatehouse.
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much.
And what kind of information do you wanna have on it?
Just like a lifeguard on or off duty, the rules, like no smoking, no vaping, no drinking, all that stuff.
Okay. Did you have any pictures?
Yes, I did.
Are you able to
can
screen share?
Yes.
Thank you. All right.
Here we go. So, title.
Okay, great title.
I pretty much just like said everything in this. So
But we like to, well, this is good though. This gives us a
Yeah.
vision. Nice drawing. I like the flowers.
that's not a drawing, that's a picture.
I mean, nice schematic. Sorry.
Thank you.
I like that.
That is, it's gonna be let's build what 8 by 10, 8 feet wide, 10 feet tall.
Okay.
So it's easy to see.
Yeah.
That is a better picture than the last one,
Okay.
as you can see. Well, yeah. That, yeah. What
It
I
might
said.
even be neat if you're able to add something. I've seen before at some hiking places and stuff where they have like
Yeah.
a glass area where you can like put like short-term information kind of be opened and moved, or that might be something that could be added on there later.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking to do. Just like you put like a corkboard. That's what it is.
Okay.
Just like up in front of a plexiglass panel that you can open. That yeah, I was thinking that.
Okay, so from us oh, it's another good picture. So
Yeah.
from us with what are your requirements? What do you need to move forward?
My requirements. I just honestly I just really need a what is it?
Approval or authorization or signature or
Yeah,
something?
that
Okay.
approval.
Okay. Okay.
I can't remember the.
And you have paperwork like that to meet?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And how are you, just out of curiosity, I'm assuming you have to raise money to do this?
Fundraisers, car washes, bake sales.
All right. Neat. All right. And then what were your ideas for putting it in the ground?
Build it offsite, or build like two, one like a prototype, and then one like 3D model a prototype, and then
Mhm.
actually build one. So you have like the idea.
Okay. And then, I mean, are you thinking, do you need, put it in the ground as far as concrete?
Yeah.
To, stability to hold it up to
Yeah,
actually.
that's
mounting it and
what-
Stuff like that.
Other projects I've been to, they've all used concrete. One of them was lights.
Okay.
He would put the post in, hold it still, and then fill it with concrete.
Okay.
That's how he did it.
All right. All right. So you got some good examples. Okay.
Yeah. I've worked on a lot of projects.
Perfect. All right. So this is something that will, well, does anybody on the board have any questions for Josh?
Well, we also have the other sign that is down by the boat ramp. So I don't know, because I know some of the information on the boat ramp one is now incorrect or is taped over so many times that we need to make sure that we get it correct so that they can, because I know there's some contact numbers that are not.
Yeah, it was just the phone number got removed. I believe it was, the phone number was written incorrectly, but that the boat ramp sign, last I knew, it was specifically just boat information, boat safety, boat invasive weeds and stuff like that. Is that correct?
You mean the sign like right at the corner?
No, I'm talking more about, Dave brought up another sign that we have.
Oh, that sign. I
Yeah.
haven't looked at that a lot, but I've seen it.
I don't think it conflicts with what you're looking to do.
No, it
And
doesn't.
that's something we can talk about more. Okay, so unless anybody else has questions for Josh, we can free him and then we can talk about it. All right. So that's perfect. So Josh, thank you. We'll talk about it a little bit later, and then I'm sure that it's going to be everybody. I think everybody's really on board. We talked about it a little bit last month, and it sounded like a really good idea. And I don't foresee any conflicts. And then we'll let you know when everything's approved, and then we will have someone official sign off for you.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any other questions, Josh?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right. Okay. So next, well, actually, if I want to take a minute now. So Pam, Denise, Lisa, John, and Dave. I wanted to hear everybody from you guys. Just let me know what you thought about the Eagle project and the sign. Yays, nays, concerns,
Thank
comments.
you.
I need to abstain.
So I got,
All right, Pam.
yeah, it's okay. And I just want to say that I talked with Josh about the lake. So he had some really good ideas, and I think maybe he's leaving some things out. I'm not positive, but I think maybe he's leaving some things out right now. It's hard talking to a group of people like this when you're a teenager and you're in a Zoom meet with adults. So at the lake, he was really sure about the ideas he had, and he had some other things that he wanted to do. So I don't have any questions or concerns about it because I had the opportunity to meet with him. And I think that the only question that I would have is that at the lake, we talked about kind of a 3-legged thing. Pam, I know you're abstaining, but I have a question about that, and I should have asked him.
Yep, that's
because that
okay.
got 2-legged kind of stand there.
Final decision, not the discussion.
Yeah. In reviewing other kiosks in the area and he worked on this kiosk with another scout in his Merrimack troop. They determined that the 3-legged one takes up too much room width-wise. This keeps it a little smaller just by having 2 posts with an 8 by 10 dimension for the board, for the face of the kiosk. And then that allows you to put underneath the little flower bed.
I like the flower bed. It's really cute.
Yeah, that was nice. There's an Eagle Scout kiosk, an Eagle Scout project that's a kiosk at Fair and Pond also. They did an information kiosk at Fair and Pond, and that was
I've seen that one.
a really nice one too. I like the idea of this, that we could post, here we have some information that's on the gatehouse, and when we lock the door, you don't see it anymore and stuff. So it'd be nice to have some of that stuff out there too. I could think of 3 or 4 things right now that I would put on that sign.
Yep.
Denise, did you have any questions or concerns?
No concerns, just question. I wasn't clear. Is there any funding that's going to be required by the rep?
It's all fundraising. He's required to fundraise. The Boy Scouts of America requires him to fundraise for
Okay,
the project. That's part of the project. So there's no monetary, it's just approval.
okay.
He went past that slide really too fast. What it said was that there's no cost to the town because he will be doing car washes and bake sales to raise the money. He will be managing the scouts and other volunteers to get the project done. And the plan is for it to be built off-site and then brought to the lake to be installed.
Oh, right.
My
And
my only concern is before he obviously makes cuts or whatever he's going to do to put it together, that we see the final. Obviously, it's kind of a mock-up right now of what he's going to do, but here's exactly how it's going to look when it's 100%
Yep.
ready to be before he makes a cut that says or waste money carving or however he's going to put it in. I assume that is he going to route the letters in, or how is he going to put?
We haven't gone that far in, or they haven't gone that far into the details of the naming of it. It is basically going to be a board that things can be posted on. It's not going to be carved out.
yeah, it looked like he mounted signs and things like that.
Yeah,
And-
so basically it's taking the signs that are on the post now and putting them on the board.
Yeah, so I mean, if he agrees to, letting us see it, before the final.
Yep.
When he's got more concrete decisions, I think that's fine. John, any questions or concerns?
I just had a question regarding the placement of the sign. Believe the second image you showed it just to the right of the gatehouse, the other side of the access road. I'm wondering if that's really the best place for it, considering everybody pulling in, they're paying attention to the left-hand side, not the right-hand side of the park of that road. Just my thought.
Right. No, that's a good question. And it's something if all of the members agree or would like to, we could definitely meet there at one point and specifically together talk about, we could approve the proposal to move forward and we could say pending on, a permanent location decision. Then we could meet and talk on location. John, do you think that's a good idea? Or to actually stand there and look?
Probably. When is Pam? When do you think that he'll be ready to, I guess, erect the sign?
He's planning on having it ready to be installed probably at the end of the season.
Okay, so we got time. We got at least 2 more meetings to discuss
Yep.
this. So it's nothing we have to do to finalize tonight, but
Right, and the location, he chose the location because that is where the other signs already are. So it would be
Yep.
removing those signs and putting this here. But if the board decides to change the location, that is obviously something that can be done.
it's just my thought. It just seemed like I understand the idea of trying to eliminate the additional signs there and it's a great idea. My concern is it's just going to be overlooked because it's right there when everybody's paying attention to the left-hand side. The right side is just going to blend into the scenery. That's the only concern I would have.
Yep.
All right, so do we need to vote on this? I think we need to vote on this, don't we? I know we're not spending any money, but. John, do we need to vote on this, do you think? I mean, it's something being approved.
Yeah, I think we do. We've done it in the past with scout projects.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so I
I'm
make.
just wondering if this has to go to the Board of Selectmen because it's, I guess, town leased property. I can't imagine the Board of Selectmen is going to have an issue with it, but I'm just thinking from a formality standpoint, I don't know.
You have a good point.
Anybody can answer that?
He knows that he has to present it to the Board of Selectmen because that is required in order for him to go to the Daniel Webster Council to present to the Eagle Board.
Okay.
Okay, so we're step one, so we kind of are giving a recommendation to the BOS so they know where we stand, kind
I
of?
think so, yeah. Yep.
Yes.
So
All
a
right.
vote to make a recommendation.
Okay, so I make a motion to make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen of the approval of Josh's Chase Park Lake Horace kiosk pending that PARC has a final look before it is installed and also with the final decision on the permanent location.
And colors. We don't want him putting a pink sign up, but I know he won't put a pink sign up, but final approval on colors and things like that so that it all
And
blends in.
colors. Location, colors, and presentation of the actual sign.
I second.
All those in favor? Pam is abstaining. Denise?
In favor.
Okay, Lisa? Are you
Aye.
second? You're in favor,
Yes.
sorry. John?
I'm gonna abstain because I'm gonna be part of the final vote, but it's,
Okay. Voting once is enough for you. And Dave?
Aye. Approved.
All right,
yes.
so we have that, so that's 4 of us, so that's enough to pass. All right, so it is granted. So I believe Lisa, being the director, needs to sign the actual paperwork that he requires from the troop. Is that right, Pam?
Yes.
That is correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. Anything else, or we can move forward, right? Everybody's good? Super. All right, tennis courts. So we have new sign on down here. Lisa is trying to put that along with everything else in the world with Chase Park. And so that is definitely closer than it was before. Not quite there yet, but working on it. And Denise had emailed me updates about, she taught, and you can take over, Denise, if you want to, since you're here. I printed your email, but would you rather like to talk?
Sure. I did end up talking to Vermont Rec, who was awarded the project. The pickleball lines were not included. And I forwarded the quote they sent. I believe it's $900. It's $225 a court.
Times 4.
Times 4.
That's
And
not how they didn't do the math, but yep.
Yeah, and you really can't, I mean, to do all this and not have the pickleball lines would be a problem. So anyways, I think at the last meeting, I think I heard there should be $200 left from the trust money.
Yes, Naomi said we had, yep, $200 left from
Yeah,
the.
The pickleball club raised the additional $700. I can write a check out to whomever at whatever point we need to, but we asked everybody to donate whatever they could, and we were able to raise the additional money.
So that'll definitely be something to talk to either Naomi about or Beth Roos. She's in the office, she's upstairs, she's in the finance department, so she usually takes care of all the money going in and going out. So probably the sooner, well, you had said they're looking to start in July, so next month?
Well, that was another question I had, because I don't know how it all works, but who, now that they've been awarded it, who stays in contact with them? Because they did originally say, hopefully end of July, but it depended on the weather.
Okay.
And when they could start their other projects. So, I mean, is it appropriate? Could I reach out to them?
You can do all the contacts, back and forth and talk to them. What ends up happening is at the very end, when we're getting close, well, even the sooner the better, is Beth Roos needs to make sure they're an approved vendor. If they're not an approved vendor, typically there's some paperwork between, because with it being government, it's a little different. So Beth needs to make sure if they're not an approved vendor, that they become an approved vendor. And then she worries about if there needs to be a deposit, or if it needs to be, when what needs to be paid. That's pretty much her department. So if you would like me to reach out to her, or if you would like to reach out to her, whatever you prefer, but
if there is something that needs to be done, I could speak to them so it could get done beforehand and doesn't delay anything. And then maybe at the same time, because there's still a lot of questions I think we should have answered, like what color are they planning to do the surface, and what color do they recommend for the lines? Just little details that we wouldn't want to walk up there and have it done and go, you used pink, or something
right.
like that.
And I definitely read the original bid way back when they did it, but I have no recollection as far as.
none of those,
You think?
none of those details are in there.
Okay, all
So
right,
I think it, and if they say, oh, that's up to the town, then I
Right.
can at least find out what the options are and bring it back to a meeting to be voted on.
that would be perfect, absolutely. And our next meeting isn't till the beginning of July, and so if it does end up being that you need a decision before that, it's not out of the question to do just a quick, 10-minute emergency meeting, as long as we get an agenda posted out there with the town, and we have the time lined up that Naomi's available. So we can do a little in-between quick meeting if we need to.
All right, well, but I just wanted to get the permission to talk to them, but I'll call them.
You're it now, Denise. You're in. POS said yes.
I will call them and see if I can get some of those details and then do they have an approximate now that they've started working?
Closer.
Yeah, because I'm also going to eventually we're going to have to put signage up about the courts not being used.
Right. Do you know how long they have to have downtime for?
No, and
No.
see, that's the kind of stuff I'd like to ask them.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
are the courts down for a week, 2 weeks? How
Right.
long after you get done can you walk on them? And the only other thing, and I know I keep beating a dead horse, but
No, that's
those trees up there are very, I got some more pictures. One day I went up there after like a thunderstorm. Half that court was covered with brush, half was not. And I just worry once we put the new surface in, and I have pictures of, part of it is a lot of the limbs are dead.
Okay.
And so I don't know, if there's anything we can do to address.
So John had made a comment last time we discussed on as we need to reach out and find out whose property they're on, because if we're on the outside of the fence, we're not sure if the fence is our property line. And I don't remember if John or Naomi, were you going to reach out to the abutting property of the tennis courts and find out about the trees? Was that what happened last month?
I believe I was supposed to, but I didn't. I was lax. Sorry.
Okay. No. It's okay. So Denise, if you want to email Naomi to remind her.
No, I just wrote it in big print on my paper.
You've moved up in the Post-it note world.
Those trees provide no shade at all. The sun is set before it ever gets to that side.
Right.
I think they were small shrubs that grew to big trees. And there are 2 tennis players who play down there who also complain. The court has to be swept in that court every time you play because of the debris.
Well, I think finding out who owns the trees first, and then if indeed we do have that first step of permission, if we can do something, and then we'll be able to definitely vote and see, removal or trimming or what we can do. But the first step is who owns it. And you can beat a dead horse as much as you want, because we have 20 things on our agenda and we forget. So,
I think they said it was Dick Coburn that it's his property. I think.
Yeah, it
so.
is. It's
Okay.
Dick Colburn's.
You might have to bring him some brownies if they're his trees, Denise. No, just
Yeah.
All right, colors on the surface, downtime, just making notes, sorry. Downtime on the actual use of the court. And lastly, we had,
And do
you
I
wanna-
need to have them re-quote, the quote I sent you, for whatever reason, they put my name on it. I should have them re-quote it, correct? And put the.
it says town of Ware. It says you are just the contact person, and it says town of Ware. So I think that's
Okay.
fine. I see town of Ware on here with the correct address.
And if we could just make sure, and I know you will, that the minutes reflect that 700 was donated by the club, because there were quite a few people in town and out of town, to be honest. People from Henniker and Warner also donated money.
If you want to type out a list of names, we'll definitely, we're more than happy to acknowledge all that. That would be just fine. We're very, very happy to acknowledge donations.
Great, thanks.
No problem. That's the least we can do. Okay. All right. Okay. Anybody else? Any tennis court questions for Denise? Anything like that? Good. Okay, next. Skate park.
Hang on,
Oh,
possibly.
John, I'm listening.
Just stand by for like 30 seconds. I'm looking something up.
Okay, that's fine. I'm still writing notes anyway. Color service lines downtown, the use of the court. Reach to Beth for approved. So Denise, do you want to, oh, she ran away. I don't know if she can hear me. Do you want to email Beth Roos? Do you have her contact information to reach out to her? Or do you want me to start that and kind of copy you on the email?
I know, I'll reach out to her. I have time, you know, I have time during the weekend. If I don't have it, I might have it. If I don't, I'll.
It's on the town website if you don't have it, yeah. And just tell her, you know, who you are and all that. She's really wonderful to work with. She has helped me tremendously.
Sounds good. Yeah, I will take care of that.
Okay, thank you, Denise, thank you.
Hey, Naomi, quick question for you. Is there a specific dollar amount that has to be met before a donation comes before the Board of Selectmen?
Yeah, up to $5,000. All I have to do is mention it at your meeting.
Okay. So,
After 5,000, you have to have a public hearing.
okay,
To
so,
accept the donation?
yep, so when that donation is made, we need to mention it at the Selectmen's meeting.
Yeah, you just have to put it on the agenda to accept a donation from the Ware Pickleball Group. Whenever
Dawn,
you're ready. Yep.
Can you do that now? I mean, Denise said she has the money.
I think we have to wait till we actually have the check, but either way.
Oh, okay.
I have what check?
When Denise gives the $700
Oh.
check to Beth, is that when you want to put on the Board of Selectmen agenda?
Yeah, all we have to do is put it on there. We don't have to do any public notice. We don't have to do any public hearing. We just have to mention it up to $5,000.
Okay.
So yeah,
Just a formality. That's all it was.
When I talk to Beth about the approved vendor, I'll see if I can drop the check off this week.
Okay.
And then she'll have it and.
And then you just have to email Naomi Naomi does the agenda for the Board of Selectmen, so just a reminder.
yeah,
that-
and Beth will come across and ask me what's going on. We work very close together. It's not a problem.
Good thing you're neighbors.
Yep.
Okay, that's good. Thank you, John. I didn't know that.
I'm still learning this crap myself.
It makes sense, though. I think I remember when the gazebo was being donated and everything. Okay, all right, perfect. So skate park, all we really have to say is that I informed MH Fence that we voted and approved the repairs on the fencing, and I reached out to Mike. I reached out to Beth. He's already an approved vendor, so she was able to pay the deposit to get him started, and I reached out to Mike, and he said he will get to it. Most likely he'll do it after hours because it's so close to home that we don't have to notify the school and Boys and Girls Club. I mean, Mrs. Hilliard already knows that the work is going to be done, but we don't have to have him there during school hours or anything like that. So I'll touch base with him again. I haven't seen anything happen. He was waiting for materials. All right. Next, we have, unless anybody has questions about skate park, I'm going to move on. Okay, super. Don't all ask at once. Wonderful. The middle school submitted a field usage request for Chase Park for the 8th grade lake trip. And that is going to be Monday, June 14th with and Wednesday the 16th, or is it one day or the both?
It's 2 days, Monday and Wednesday, and then Thursday is the rain date.
Okay, splitting up the grade. That's good. Okay. So, and they're looking to use it. So Monday, Wednesday, possibly the rain date of Thursday, the 17th. So we're not open. So they have submitted their use form and their insurance. And they're asking for 8 a.m. to 1:30. I believe I heard through the grapevine they hire their own lifeguard. Pam, is that right?
We hire our own lifeguards.
Okay. All right.
It's
Questions or comments, concerns about the application for the facility use form for Chase Park for the Ware Middle School? Denise, anything? Lisa, anything?
I just want to make sure I want to make sure that I get down there to unlock, or Kristen does, or somebody does when we're supposed to. That's all.
So do you need maybe Pam to reach out to you, or do you want?
Yeah,
us-
that'd be great. Pam, could you do that?
yeah.
Pam's got my number. She knows when I need a little help.
She's got
They're-
that fancy office at the school now, so.
Yeah.
I would
They
assume
are-
also that we're gonna have to unlock the bathrooms for them as well.
Yes, please.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was talking about, the gate, the bathrooms,
Okay,
trash
And-
cans out.
We have already reached out, well, I will be reaching out tomorrow to the PD for them to do patrols. Because of historically, they've always had the police come by and hang out for a little while, but now with the added hoopla going on in town about Chase being used when it's not technically open, it's probably going to be a better idea to have them there more frequently as opposed to less frequently.
thank you for that.
Thank
Is
you.
there a
Yeah, we
way-
want our kids to be safe.
Is there a way that we can build? I know we've got the sandwich board sign. Is there a way we can have it built the night before or whenever, before on Sunday before they go, was closed for a private middle school event?
I don't think we want to put private. I think that's what people are assuming it is when it's really just a school thing. But we could, put on maybe on our Facebook page, we should put something about the school doing, I don't know how I'd feel about that. Because
I would not
anybody
want to
could-
advertise it.
yeah,
Not
kids are there.
that I have a kid there, but I would not want to advertise that it is a school activity because that's going to bring the school into it and create more.
They
You know,
have chaperones there.
They do
and
have chaperones there.
Presence is being requested. I think that's enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's enough. I mean, if they're really super concerned, they could slide the gate so it's not locked, but it's not open if they were really worried, and that's, usually enough. I think it'll be fine. The Boy Scouts didn't really have too much trouble after.
After that one incident.
Yeah. So, well, there were more people coming to the gate, I heard, but other than that. All right, so, I make a motion to approve the facility use form for Chase Park Lake Day, Ware Middle School, June 14th, 16th, and possibly 17th.
I second.
I need to hear Dave,
Approve.
John,
Yep.
Denise,
Yes.
Pam.
I approve.
Okay, all right, perfect. Okay. Well, I just had a note on here. We hadn't heard from the Patriarch Celebration yet, but I see they're still raising money to use the gazebo field, so I don't think they're quite there yet. I'm not too worried about that. That was just my own little kind of note. All right. Bolton Park, I've got a lot on here. So I heard back from Mike's Custom Canvas with the sunshades. I did forward the quote on to everybody. My apologies, Denise, I didn't have you on my email list yet. Let's see. So Mike lives on River Road. And Denise, at Bolton Park, we have two metal structure shade structures. One's over picnic tables off to the side and one's over the sandbox. And we've had, they came with shade structures originally on top canvases that we don't have anymore. And we had tarps that were all damaged. So I went over to the sheds and got out what we had left and brought it to him for size. And he's been back and forth with measuring. He actually contacted the company Apollo Sunshade because he needed to talk about hardware because they had turnbuckles and everything. So he's done a whole lot of legwork for us and he came back with the estimate. So shade cloth with cable and new hardware, 12 foot by 12 foot at $4.15 a square foot as 144 square feet is $750 per sunshade canopy. So that's $1,500. Fully bound with reinforced corners. And then we just have to choose the color. This is going to be more of a canvas woven material. What we had on there before, it was more tarp-like, which decomposes in the UV rays and breaks down sooner. It will still need to be removed. None of them are snow guaranteed. So it still needs to be removed for winter and installed back in the spring. Probably kind of when we take down the tennis court nets and put them back up type of thing. So I'd like to open it up for questions, comments, concerns.
What was
Anybody?
the amount again?
$750 each for a grand total of $1,500 for two sunshade canopies.
So
John?
Shipping says to be determined. Are we talking $50, $500? What are we talking?
I can ask him that. He's not shipping it to us. We'll pick it up. So it must be the material and the hardware to him.
Okay.
I mean, we
I
could.
think there ought to be a cap on it. If you're gonna make a motion to approve it, I would add a little bit of fluff for shipping, but put a cap on it, like $1,600 or something like that.
I agree with you. I was thinking more like 500.
$500 in shipping? It shouldn't be.
No, what did you say? You said 1,600, didn't you? Oh, total, you mean $100. Okay.
Yes,
I thought you were, sorry, I didn't realize you did all math. Yeah, I can't imagine it being, like you were saying, more than $100 or $200 at the most, I don't think. I mean, unless the stuff is ridiculously heavy.
It probably would be worth reaching out to him just to double check and make sure, so we're all on the same page.
Right, and we definitely, if we voted to approve it tonight with a cap of a particular number that we choose, and I can definitely reach out to him, and if we need to revisit it and adjust it, that's a possibility, right?
Yeah, it just has to, at the next meeting, you'd have to make a motion to rescind the previous one and then make a new motion with the new value.
Okay. Because I'm thinking I don't want to wait too much longer because it's going to take them a while to make them. So I like your idea of the extra in there.
Is he installing them the first time around, or is that up to us to install them or have them installed the first time around? Is he going to get them? Because obviously getting them on there and making sure that they're stretched right and all of that the first time around, is he going to install them the first time around? Or
That's
is that
a good question. It was not something that was talked about. I can ask him. I mean, if I were to assume, I would probably assume no. I would imagine that if there was problems, that he would definitely be available, to talk to us. He is pretty close by, and he did, go out of his way and go to measure and everything for me. So we can definitely talk to him about that. Maybe the hardware, even Sun Apollo may have, schematics on installation because it's their hardware. So I'll ask him. More comments, Lisa? I hadn't heard anything yet. Has she run away?
the only other thing I have is color?
I'm not run away. I just am I'm nervous about the sunshades because I think the last ones got torn up and I'm just nervous. So I'm nervous about the amount of money we're spending. So I kind of would like to have our cameras installed before they go on.
And that's fine. I mean, that's something
But-
we can, I have no problem with that. I think that would be amazing. Absolutely. I agree. I don't know if the other ones were snow ripped because they didn't get taken down the winter, people ripped, combination, wind. I don't know. Dave, yeah, as far as color goes, we can definitely talk about that. I don't think I may or may not have forwarded it with the quote. I did not print it out, but he did give an email PDF of the color options, and I think I had said that most of the things at Bolton Park, I think we end up going with either that hunter green or that royal blue. But we can.
The previous sunshades were royal blue.
Okay. Yeah, the ones I took off were like a royal blue. So the price doesn't change with the color, so we can still approve everything and we can vote on the color. I can actually. Denise, questions?
So is the intent of these sunshades to be put up and then left up until the end of the season?
Right, like with the tennis courts, with the tennis nets?
I had a horrible mental image of a younger person being stupid and trying to use it as a trampoline.
Right. Well, I mean, that's always a possibility. They came with them originally, and they've had them in the past. I know within the last 5 or 6 years, they were still being used. When I joined as a volunteer, they were talking about replacing them because they weren't usable anymore. And so sorry, I'm just looking at the color sheet. a lot of people have reached out in the past. I haven't heard so much about it this year, but there is no shade at that park anywhere. And the little kids that want to just sit in the sandbox, somebody wants to just sit at the picnic table. It's something that we've tried to address for a long time with pavilions, with gazebo, square gazebo types of pagodas, pergolas, things like that. And this is utilizing something we already have. There's always going to be an option that someone's going to abuse it. I mean, there's playground equipment there. It's already getting abused. That's something I'm going to visit later. But I don't want that to deter us from considering providing shade for the amount of people that really do want to use the park. So
And where's the money coming out of for this? Out of the maintenance fund?
So we have, yep, that maintenance line is $3,000. We have not touched that yet.
Okay, so you're gonna be using half of your allowed maintenance fund in the first month of summer, the first couple of weeks of summer.
I have money left in the repair. We have money left in the repairs.
Okay.
There's, yeah, I think it'll end up coming out of both because like we just spent money. We have money that has been spent on a couple $100 for the well at Chase Park, and some other stuff. But yeah, I mean, there is money. I agree. I think we need to do something about the shade. I'm just nervous. I'd like to have the little bit of insurance of having the cameras in place.
If we want to do one shade or sandbox, I would. If we wanted to only do one shade this year, I would really recommend the sandbox being the one that's used more because the other one is actually almost out of the park. It's off to the side over the picnic tables only, really. But I would see the sandbox being used more often. Denise, did you have something to say?
I think that's maybe a good idea if you said, well, because it's early in the season, do one over the most sunny area where the kids are, see how things go with repairs and maintenance. You could always purchase the second one later in the year or the beginning of next year. You have money at the end of the year.
I agree. I agree with you, Denise.
Do we ever get a bill? Do we ever get the bill for the irrigation repairs? Because I know we saw all those damages for the irrigation.
I haven't seen the bill yet, but I know it's coming and there's more to be added to it.
I have the bill. It did get emailed to us. And I forwarded that on. I have it with me. The first one anyway. I am screen sharing nothing. Open up, please. This is the color.
No, it is. Oh, okay, yeah. I was gonna say, I can see your screen.
These are the color fabrics. Oh, I am not that computer literate. Okay.
I agree with Denise and Janine that maybe one sunshade to start would be fiscally responsible for us.
I don't have the numbers in front of me. Remind me again, what was the skate park fence repair bill going to be?
Hang on one second. We voted. Why do I not see the number? $892.86.
That means we're down to $700 for the rest of the year. And not including the irrigation
Buy
bill.
one sunshade or if we buy two sunshades?
If you buy two, but that doesn't include an irrigation bill that we haven't seen yet, which is going to.
That's repairs.
Okay.
That's a different line item. And that also can be, yeah. That's repairs.
I just want, my primary concern is, I'm sure you can all tell, is I want to make sure we have enough money and we don't blow it all in the first month and then we're behind the 8 ball on the default budget where there is no more money to get.
I hear you.
Yeah, we do have a lot of expenses this year.
Yes, and we're probably not going to be using the recreation activity money to the fullest extent. We could consider a sunshade a recreation activity because it's definitely going to increase recreation of the sandbox and usage if we'd like to categorize it. And that account, that's a $5,000 account. I know we have a few small things, you know, later on with the pumpkin hunting and such. I don't see us doing a field day this year or something. So that's also an option. It's something that we've been trying to do for at least 3 years since I've been on the board. And I'm definitely all for at least the one.
I agree. I think that we need at least the one over the sandbox.
Dave, do you see the colors?
No, I still see your PDF trying to your
Yeah,
thing
that's
where
what I see.
I don't
Really?
see. I just see the thing where it's saying, "Are you on a different? Do you have two screens, or are you like me with 3 different screens? And you have to look and figure out which screen it's on?" Because
No, it says I'm screen sharing and it just says fabric colors and it's all the little pillows.
Yeah, no.
all I see is the your list of PDFs.
Really? Because I opened it. How rude.
Yeah, it looks like nothing's.
How about this? Is that better?
That is the same.
All I'm seeing is it's cycling trying to open.
All right, hang on.
I don't know. I mean,
I
I'm
did
kind of
not.
on the same idea with John. Is wow, it'd be great. I mean, it also depends on how long it's going to take Mike to build these things, because if it's going to take him another 2 months before he gets them built, now we're into the end of August or the middle of August, and having them up for a month, maybe waiting until the end of the year when it's quieter, maybe quieter for him, and maybe he can give us a better deal when he's looking for work. I hate to say it, in the off season time for him, that he may be able to give us a better price.
Maybe, but I mean, it's more along the lines of buying the materials. I mean, his labor is part of it, but I don't think the materials are going to be less. Hang on a second now.
I do. All right, so I do see your point, Dave, because we're probably not gonna. I don't know how long it takes either. If it's gonna take them a week and we can get them up and we have the rest of the summer, that's one thing. There they are.
Okay.
But
I think
otherwise,
Chrissy wanted
it's a
to
great
say
thing to spend
something.
money at the end of the summer.
All right, Chrissy, go ahead.
I just had a couple questions in regards to those. How far up are they?
They're just
They're
like how tall are the
Yeah.
canopies, or how tall is the shade? It's just like a roof.
It is, yeah, but how far is the canopy up? I'm wondering because you
Like-
guys are
8 or 10 feet, I think, and
They're
then the
up to
middle is
pretty
up
high.
higher.
You don't duck under them or anything like that. They're pretty high up there.
yeah, I can't imagine that there would be any kids realistically climbing that structure and jumping on it. And
No.
I've done worse when I was a kid.
well, I mean, okay, I give you that, but at the same time, how long are the canopies, how long do they last for out in the sun? That would be a question that I would be asking.
He definitely, yeah, when I was in there, he didn't put it on here. Let me see, does it actually say on the fabric swatches? He definitely said the number of years. I don't know if it was guaranteed or life expectancy. So I can definitely ask him. But he wanted to specifically go with the canvas ones because they lasted longer. I don't want to guess and be wrong.
My other thing is where are we going to put these things? Because we don't want to leave them down in anything at Bolton or Inison or anything else like that, because we seem to have a rodent problem, and I would rather these not get eaten. So is there going to be space to store these with the tennis nets in town hall?
I think we could do that, or we could put them in very large tubs that are sealed. I know that's what I have my beekeeping stuff in, is these big tubs that the mice can't get into. So, I mean, I don't know exactly what they fold up into, but we can worry about that later. But you're right. We need to make sure we protect it.
That's a good idea. Yeah, the life expectancy, I honestly thought it was 5 or 10 years. It was definitely, but I think it really depends on a lot of things. I mean, the amount of sun they see, the amount of wind they see, if they do get stored before the weather is bad. So I'm not sure.
My guess honestly would be about 2 to 3 years out in the sun.
Right. Well, I know, yeah, I hear you. I know I've taken cheap plastic tarps and put them on roofs and had them last a couple years, and hopefully this stuff's a little bit better.
I mean,
So,
if you look at awnings that people have on their homes that they roll out, and I mean, they last quite a while. I have a suspicion it's closer to 5 to 10 years.
that's what I was thinking because of the particular type it is.
But again, depending on the money, and if you could get it under that fund that has 5,000, if you started with one, see how it goes. Does it do what we hoped it would do? Do we see any damage to it? And then make a decision some other time about a second one.
Right.
And maybe then just finding out how long it's going to take, because if he said we couldn't have it ready until September, well, then that's kind of a waste of money. If he said
Right.
we could have it done in 3 weeks, then you'd have it for the whole season.
Right. All right. Well, I mean, so if people wanted to approve funds for one with extra for shipping, just an extra little bit, and I can definitely reach out to him and find out, you know, installation is instructions, life expectancy, and lead time on making them. And I mean, we can always hold off. I mean, we don't, even though we approve to spend the money, we don't have to spend the money. But if we approve the money and what he has to say is good, we can move forward and hopefully not be getting them finished for the end of summer. How does that sound to people?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to just do the one and see how it goes. As long as we can get it and in time for it to be useful this summer, that's great. Otherwise, we could wait till fall and order it then.
Pam, thoughts?
Sorry, I was yelling at the Xbox player downstairs. I agree with Lisa. I think she had mentioned not having the cameras up yet, and I'm leery of spending the amount of money that this would be without having any recourse if something were to happen to it. But I do think that we need to do something at least over the sandbox. So I would vote for buying one now.
Okay. Do we want to talk about colors right now?
Do we want to just go with the same color we had before that
It was tarp blue.
and I can't see what it is. Royal
Yeah, I
blue.
think the royal blue is what we had before.
Fine with me. Dave?
Oh, hang on.
great
I don't
cherry.
I don't understand what the shade 86% means, where you can look up at Laguna Blue, which is similar blue colors at like 92. So what? I don't understand what the percentages mean.
Janine, if you scroll down a little bit, there was a header right at the top that said what that meant. I think it said, do you know the darker the fabric color, the cooler the temperature underneath? I bet that's what the shade piece is.
Because it's reflecting, it's going to reflect the amount of sun, so it's so it looks like the Laguna Blue actually has a little bit more shade and a little bit more UV block.
I think it's also an issue of how tight the weave is on the canvas.
Right? Oh, those are frame colors. I was looking to see if it said anything else at the bottom, but it doesn't. So if we were worried about royal blue versus Laguna Blue definitely says there's a little bit more shade and a little bit more UV block. Navy blue isn't as much as Laguna Blue. So it's a little bit brighter, more like a pool blue maybe. Again, I don't know. I mean, how much difference 86% to 96 to 92%. I'm not sure how much of a difference it would make.
But if it's the same price, then I would get the one with the higher shade and the higher UV protection, just because, yeah, it might be a tighter weave and it might hold up better. I mean, that's something you could also maybe ask him and say, hey, look, is it going to be, why is there the difference and the benefit of it?
All right, Royal Blue versus Laguna Blue. Shade protection versus UV block. Okay. All right.
Or are we going to try to go to the green to match what's going in there now? Because obviously we can change colors of it. Not to throw another monkey wrench into it, but
What's going in there now? What are we changing colors to green?
well, no, I mean, you already have the sheds are already green and things like that. Did you want to stay on the same green?
No, we'll stay with
I
blue.
would prefer not to because it's not going to match very well. And
And
I think
that
a whole
forest-
other color might look better.
Well, it's an in-between, yeah. All right. More discussion? John's been quiet.
Just taking it in.
He wants to keep it that way. All right. Is it somebody else's turn to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we only purchase one shade at this point in the season.
So you'll say that dollar amount and then you'll add in a little bit extra for the,
For $750 and put a cap on shipping, $50 to $75, or do you want to go as high as 100?
right, we can do 100, just one number, just you could cap it at 100.
I make a motion that we purchase one shade now at a price of $750 with a cap of no more than $100 for shipping. And to be purchased if it is usable, in this season, otherwise defer it.
All right. Sounds good. I'll second that.
I'm not sure I understand the second half of her motion.
We
It's so that
If the lead time is too long that it wouldn't be used in the summer, we would hold off. We'd postpone it.
Postpone the purchase?
Correct.
until fall.
To make sure our budgets.
But I think you need to specify a date.
Well, we could leave that off. We could approve it. We don't have to spend the money if we approve it. We could make the motion without any time crunch. And then if I get new information that it's going to be a long lead time, we can rescind it or shelf it. Just with a meeting. Does that make?
So I'll correct the motion then. A motion to purchase one shade for $750 with a cap on shipping no higher than $100.
Period.
Are we going to specify a color?
So we had first choice of royal blue, second choice of Laguna blue. We were gonna, if one had a benefit over the other.
I'd probably just include that in the motion.
Okay. One more time, Denise, you're doing good.
Okay, so purchase one sunshade, $750 for one shade with a cap on shipping to be no more than $100, and that we will purchase it in the color of royal blue or Laguna blue, depending on which provides the greater shade and UV protection.
And the company we're buying it from is?
Mike's Custom Canvas.
Mike's Custom Canvas.
Okay.
I'll second.
All those in favor, Lisa?
Aye.
John?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Janine is a yes. Okay, thank you, everyone. That was only mildly painful. I'm just kidding. All right, let me stop screen sharing. Okay, all right, on to the next important parties. Oh, well, all I had written was the porta potties having the damage, and I called the American Guardian. That was when somebody had driven to the porta potty. Have they been keeping them clean lately?
Yes,
Okay, all right, good, finally.
at least the one at Einison, was, they kept up with it. They made sure that it was clean, usually on Friday, Saturday mornings. Obviously, it had been used from practices, but it was never overflowing again like it had been that one time. The only problem is there was never any hand sanitizer,
Oh, jeez.
ever.
People should have those with them. Just kidding. They should have that in there.
Well, they'd come
Oh,
by the snack
we
shack
moved-
and they'd say, do you have any hand sanitizer? And then they'd buy a popsicle or an ice cream sandwich. So it worked out. I would rather them not have the hand sanitizer.
We did move Einison Field to twice a week cleaning. I haven't had any complaints about Bolton, since that initial first couple of weeks.
Okay, all right.
And I've been
Good.
on the phone with them a lot.
Better news
Thank-
than we've had in the past.
Yeah.
Okay. So I reached out to Utiliplay. I met with Dana, and she got back to me that she had to go back to the park, Bolton Park, and get more numbers to see about equipment fitting in, and the open area in the middle is too close to everything between the slides and the swings to have any equipment there. It's where we used to have the merry-go-round. So they've obviously changed their requirements. So she's going to reach out to us still when they're busy, of course, just like everybody is. It's peak season, about the swing, replacing the tire swing. And she also was going to get us a price for wood chips. So that's still in the hanging on. And then next on the agenda, I had Chrissy, like she had mentioned in public comment about reaching out to me and online about just the rate that Bolton Park was getting dirty after they did the cleanup. And we had talked about how we tried trash cans in the past and they just kind of collected more garbage. People saw them like, great, I'm gonna clean out my car. Great, I can put everything from the birthday party in here and all that. So we've been doing the carry in, carry out. And I know that you, Chrissy, you said the Girl Scouts did put up a sign. You'd posted a picture of the signs. And Lisa, you still have signs to get named and put in there?
Yeah, we do. Naomi was in the middle of something when I was at the town offices earlier today, so
Okay.
I couldn't go bug her.
And Chrissy, you had
And unfortunately, when I've been at the town offices, Naomi and I are missing each other.
you should give me a list of what the signs need to be labeled and I'll go for
Well, I
you.
need to go see the signs again because it's been a year now.
All right. I hear you. I'll just have to make you go. I'll have to drive you
All
there.
you gotta do is stop by and one of the girls can help you. They're not in my office. They're outside my office.
Oh, they are?
Yep. So
Okay.
Karen
I
or
could
Beth
hear
can help you.
I could hear you talking earlier when I was there. So I thought
So
you
Couldn't have
were.
been today.
You can see Karen or Beth.
Couldn't have been today. Tuesdays is not my day to work.
Oh, they had like meetings going or something. So I assumed you were in a meeting. Maybe they were just listening to Beth and Karen and Beth both had some sort of, maybe they were just playing an old meeting. I just assumed-
Karen uses YouTube to do the meeting, so she does the minutes use it with YouTube, so.
Oh,
Okay.
I see what you mean. She watches the actual live meeting and takes all the notes.
That's what happens. Okay, I get you.
So Naomi's talking through computers now, and now you're thinking she's there.
I thought she was in there and just couldn't come out.
And you said that there were signs that said there were cameras, even though we're still kind of held up on the cameras. Is that right too?
Well,
You have-
because there are some cameras, like, so WAC had cameras and the football field had cameras, so it was okay to have those camera signs there. But yes,
Okay.
we're held up on cameras right now. I have phone call in and I need to email. There's an email, because I'm hoping that maybe somebody will be able to donate cameras. Anyway,
Well, you had to talk to Granite State. You said to get,
yes, I got halfway through Granite State.
okay. All right.
They're right there, so I was kind of hoping. I need to get pricing for what it would cost because anyway, I don't have it all yet.
Okay. All right. Chrissy, you had mentioned on your phone call that the company you work for does wood chips.
Well, we do just general landscaping, excavation, hardscaping and stuff. So I did mention it to the owner. think as of right now, he doesn't know if he can be there immediately. So I'm still pressing him on getting that number for you guys. He has been over there, but
Okay,
unfortunately he is scatterbrained. So I'm trying to get that too.
I get it. And it's the season and everybody's slammed. So yeah,
It
whenever
is.
you get a number, that'll be wonderful.
Yeah, and we also do irrigation work too. We do, if we don't do it, we know somebody that does. So,
Okay. We have a local contractor right now that lives right in town that
oh,
we
perfect.
signed up with, that he really helped us out because when our new board, we had a kind of almost a full new board all at once, pretty close. Within a year, it was almost everybody was new. And the irrigation company we'd contracted with had a really serious family situation going on. They weren't even able to return our phone calls. And this company stepped in and he's been really helping us, and he's been over there recently with checking it out and having to do some repairs. So that's good, which I have his $755 is Sharp Lawn's invoice. He did email it to us. I thought he emailed it to all of Park. And that was for turning on irrigation at Addison Field 125, turning on irrigation at Bolton Field 285, miscellaneous of repairing, hang on a second, let me screen share this. Sorry. Sharp Lawns, I'm getting better at this, maybe. All right, screen share, Sharp Lawns invoice. Okay. And $345 is repairing the broken pipes, broken wires at Bolton Field, replacing 3 heads and replacing 1 nozzle. So Lisa, I'm not sure what other work
It's that clock. It's the clock he was
okay.
putting
That's
in.
not- That's probably not major though.
No, he was gonna see if, I don't know. I have no idea, but it was something to do with the clock because he thinks the clock is failing.
That's
That's why we're having so many problems at Bolton. So I have to keep running
baseball's
them.
almost over and it won't matter. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, right?
So I'm assuming that this gets sent to Beth. Does she already get this and does he send it on to her? Or do we need to?
I think we need to forward it to her, or I print it out because I just need to say okay to pay on it.
Do you want?
So,
Someone has to sign it.
yeah, I have to sign it and say okay to pay.
So I should bug you about that.
Well, yeah, and I need to get my printer that I bought isn't working right now. So
I have a printed one right here. I can give it to you tomorrow.
perfect. Thank
Okay.
you.
No
I brought
problem.
it to work because we don't have a printer at work that works because, I'm a teacher. So there's nothing working there. And then something happened with IT and now my printer doesn't work.
Okay. It's always something. All right, perfect. The lock on the shed was cut, the irrigation shed, and Lisa used one from another location. So I think you said Inison. So if
Yeah,
anybody,
because Inison's now open,
okay,
it's not winter. I just used the Inison lock for now. So it's been fine. And, we did have some incidents down there. I think we already discussed those with
yeah, last month, I
some
think.
youth were down there doing some things. Yep.
All right. So, okay. So we'll move on unless somebody has questions or concerns about any of that. All right, I'll stop screen sharing my invoice, the invoice. The missing plaque on the bench. So Pam notified us that someone stepped forward to donate the money. So, all right, Pam.
So this would be another one that's gonna does this have to go to the Board of Selectmen because it's a donation to
Everything
the
does.
town?
Yes, that's what John just said.
Yep.
I'm trying to, I thought I printed it out though. I had the invoice for the plaque. Maybe we did it last month. So Pam, are you directly in contact with the donation person? How do we want to proceed with the ordering of it?
Well, yes, I am directly related. in touch with the person who is paying for it.
Okay,
So I just need to know how, if I take the invoice down to Crown and pay for it there.
well,
or-
at that moment, could we, now Naomi and John, could the donation check not even have to go through the town, just purchase the plaque and then BOS approves the donation of the plaque versus the donation of the money to buy the plaque, and then we cut out the middleman of the approved vendor mailing checks?
So I'm wondering if, Pam, if you're gonna pay for it and then you are reimbursed out of,
I'm not being reimbursed.
She has the money.
This is something that my family is donating because of my mom.
but we're replacing a missing one, correct?
Yes.
I'm not sure I'd consider that a donation that would have to come to the Board of Selectmen. I don't know, maybe Naomi thinks differently, but it's nothing new. It's replacing missing.
I agree.
Okay. All right. So Pam, do you just need me to forward you that Crown?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'm really impressed with myself that I don't have it printed out here. I'll probably find it after we say goodnight. Okay,
I actually think you've already emailed it
okay.
because
Do
I
you need me
remember
to-
seeing it.
You want me to do it again?
We'll talk after.
Okay, all right. All right, so that clears up that question then. Make sure in the minutes you denote who to thank for the donation of the plaque on the bench from the
Yep.
wonderful family. Thank you, by the way. The locked dumpsters, we talked a little bit about that. So after we had that unfortunate incident of all the trash bags being bestowed upon us, it's the locks we had last year, so the dumpster company already has a key, as does, I believe, Lisa and Pam. So if anybody needs to get into the dumpsters at Bolton Park, to reach out to Pam or Lisa. Does everybody think that's the best thing to do to keep those locked? So you can slide, a water bottle or a little bit of garbage one piece at a time, but you can't put bags of trash in there?
Yes.
Dave?
Speaking of that, I never heard back from the police department. They were supposed to reach out to the individual who did that. And I had asked, that they please ask them to please pay our dumpster bill, but I haven't heard back. So I need to follow up on that.
Okay. All right.
I'm good with that. And
Okay. John, any comments?
I don't think you're going to be successful in getting that, considering that particular house was vacant and people had already moved out. But
Yeah, no, I know. I just,
It's
Would've been
the
nice.
whole, it's the whole,
The principal.
the principle of it.
I-
it's
Exactly.
the principle of the
understand that.
matter.
understand that, but I mean, devil's advocate, how do you know that you pay somebody
Oh, no, I agree with you.
in the house for them and that's where they dumped it?
No, we know.
And you're
Yeah,
right.
no,
I
we
mean,
know. It
And
happened.
it's fine if the police actually look into it. And I realize that they may not be able to reach the people, but at least an attempt is made.
They did make an attempt. They did go to the house and the house was vacant.
It was already vacant.
Yep. So again, you can try. I don't know if you're going to get the result you want though.
Right.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, I'm not going to waste any more of my time on it. I've already been down there cleaning it up and elbow deep with gloves on. So
All right.
I just was
Everybody,
hoping that somebody would do the right thing.
everybody can hate me later, but here I am with another amount of money. So at Bolton Park, oh, come on, screen share. In the small child play area, so the first one after the sandbox, there are 3 or 4 of these bubbles. This bubble is, it's gotta be 3 feet across. So this crack
The
you
bubble
see,
is dangerous.
which is a U shape, is completely broken. It's not a scratch. You can push it all the way out, like a flap, like a leg getting stuck through it. So I
Go
reached
ahead.
or a head, a small head, yes. I reached out to Burke because their name is on the sign from the original installers of the park. They looked us up in their archives and I sent pictures. And one bubble window is $316. A hardware package of bolts, because they're anti-tamper bolts, so people can't just walk up to them and take them off. $16.25, and the hex Allen wrench tool that you use to take care of the anti-tamper proof bolts is $25.09 with a freight of $88. Oh, I can screen share this invoice. Has everybody seen the picture of the bubble? Any questions?
Freight is incredibly ridiculous.
$88. I'm now
I
saying
have to say that's
you
expensive.
want to tell me about how crazy freight is.
I know, I understand.
What does that bubble do?
It's cute for the kids to look through and prevents them from falling out. I may have a better picture of, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it, of the actual whole apparatus. So it looks kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just
Tubes. It's like a hamster bubble. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like
Where they
you have
look through it.
tubes where hamsters run, only kid size.
And I don't think we're allowed to remove it because then it's a fall hazard.
Yes.
You know, you're not allowed, it's too high up off the ground. You can't eliminate it. Let me screen share the invoice. All right. So this would definitely be under repairs or maintenance. This does not come with installation because it comes from, where are they? They are in Wisconsin. And obviously they're selling us the tool, so there's no installer coming with it. Questions?
You said there were 4 bubbles that are like this?
There's 4 bubbles on the equipment. This is the only damaged one.
This is a safety hazard. I mean,
really
it's
is.
big. It's a big safety hazard, and I hate to spend money, but
It's extremely dangerous. I mean, it's literally hanging on there by the few inches at the top. So if it's approved, 448, 445.85, whether it comes out of repairs
Can you go
or,
back? Can you go back to the picture that has that?
yeah.
it's hard to tell, Dave. You really have to be there to see how dangerous it is. That picture is.
Oh no, I'm not worried
difficult.
about that. I'm just worried about.
It's cracked and it's all the way down and it's literally all the way down and it comes up about a third. And this distance across has to be,
I'm more looking at the bolts.
Oh.
Whether, you know, $25 for the thing, whether we can look up on Home Depot and see if they even got the piece that you can put onto a drill bit and just be able to do that. Whether
they're a special kind of funky, can you see them there? They're not a regular bolt.
Yeah, I'd be leery of trying to do something on our own. I think we need to get what is meant to go on there.
It's
the
the tool
tool.
that can be stored in the, you know, we can store it at the irrigation shed. I'm sure this is not the last time that we have to. I was kind of wondering if we could reuse the hardware, but it may not be reusable. It may be kind of that, because it's tamper proof, you kind of almost have to cut it off. I don't know.
I'd make sure you put the tool somewhere where if you have to replace another one, you don't have to buy the tool.
Right. The irrigation shed is on the premises. It's probably like 25 feet away and it's locked unless somebody cuts the lock. So, more questions? Back to the invoice.
no.
Well, Lisa, if you're not opposed, no, I'm just kidding.
Is
It
that
is a
that's
safety
the
issue. We
measure?
need to fix it.
It's a safety hazard. I don't think you have a choice.
If someone gets hurt, the town's gonna get sued.
Right.
So, I don't know if we have to allocate what budget line it comes out of. I'm not sure, but I mean,
I think that's a repair, but
I believe it's a repair too. It's under $500. All right. Any more further discussion? Dave, John, Denise, Lisa, Pam?
I just want you to make a motion.
Okay. I make a motion to spend $445.85 with Burke to purchase a bubble window, hardware package, hex Allen wrench, and freight.
I second.
All those in favor, Denise,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Dave.
Yep.
Okay. I will move forward with getting them on the approved vendor list. I don't know how long that lasts for since we bought the original, well, we'll see. I'll talk to Beth and get this moved forward. All right, that's it for Bolton Park unless anybody else has more to bring up. We can move on to Chase Park.
Let's move on.
Okay. Just checking in with Naomi on that the boat ramp application is still in the works for getting repairs done fall, spring next year.
I still have the application. It has to go back to Concord.
Did you get every signature you needed to get?
No, I gotta spend $25 and go to the Heritage Bureau. I haven't done that yet.
Okay.
Because they, anywhere you click on that, it says there's endangered species. So you gotta spend $25, send it to Concord for them to send you back a letter that tells you there's not. So,
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of crazy. Typically, if you go online and do it, but it usually comes right back because we've done it with the Snowmobile Club before. When you click on a piece of property, comes back, it says there's nothing, and then you can print it off the screen. But no matter where, 10 miles away from the beach, it still tells you that there's endangered things around there. So I guess we'll have to spend $25 and get a letter to the Heritage Bureau and then get something back. And then we can file it with everybody.
All right. I think that's a small price to pay to finally get moved forward.
Yeah, well, we've got weeks to do it. I think we just do it right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect. The buoys got put in, the swim lines got put in. We'd like to thank Chuck Metcalf and Chris and Melissa Salisbury for offering their boats and their time and their knowledge. And Nick was there, Dave was there, and worked together. Ryan, my husband, went out on the boat and helped and learned.
Janine was there, and it looks wonderful. They look wonderful, and Nick has made some more. Nick Lundine's made some more. He untangled some things and fixed stuff up the next day. But yeah, it looks great.
Good.
I tried to keep people off the lines on Sunday. That was a little tough. People did not want to listen about that.
Oh boy, we even put them out a little further.
It's tough.
The season
And
schedule.
the park was open and staffed. It was tough.
Right? I don't know why I have the season
Yeah.
schedule in here. Hours open, early closing. Just on that Sundays, we did a couple 4 o'clocks. We closed with the rain, but we did Sunday nights, like Lisa was saying during public comment, being closing early because of the school being the next day. Resident proof requirements. So we had a few questions on the official document that states how much it costs to get into the lake. And at the bottom, we have residency proof can be current car registration, driver's license, rental agreement, tax bill, or current utility bill. And Lisa and Kristen had both brought up the concerns of someone bringing one thing when they really need to bring two. So like if they just show up with a utility bill, but they don't provide their license. If they just have the car registration, different things. Basically, we wanted to have it be so we could ask for 2 forms of ID if we felt that there was not enough proof. We had someone the other day that tried to show a voter course paperwork with their address. And Kristen said, this has no expiration date. This is not enough. You know, she knew they were from Manchester. Everything they had proved they were from Manchester, but they were still trying to get in for the resident rate. So I'm proposing that we change the wording, that residency proof can be current, you know, 2 forms from the list: car registration, driver's license, rental agreement, tax bill, current utility bill. So we can request 2 forms, not, so they can't try to insist on just one. So it's in writing. Questions, comments?
I just want to say, just for
Yeah.
the amount of things, the things that happen to the employees of that park in order for people to try to sneak in and break the rules. We had an ex-resident that tried to get in this past weekend with an old registration. We've had people that have a car registration that doesn't belong to the car. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, oh yeah, you're coming in loud and clear. I was
Okay.
there 3 times on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I was floored every time I was there, someone was trying to get in with a residence, with a
Yeah, we
not,
had somebody. Yeah, we have people that come with a registration from their car, but they're in somebody else's car with sometimes even out-of-state plates on it, claiming that it's their car and that we're hopefully not going to notice, and then it's a different registration.
we also had somebody that had, the landowner was there, but they had somebody else's jet skis that did not live in town, and Kristen had to explain repeatedly to the point where they were angry that the registration of the jet skis is where the jet ski sticker is going to be. So they're going to get a sticker for out of town because the jet skis are out of town. So it's just a battle.
Yeah, I just want us to be able to ask for the 2 forms, because it's clearly we have lots of problems. It's a daily problem. Multiple times a day.
Does everybody like that idea?
Yes.
One
Yeah.
needs to be specified to be a government issued photo ID.
Well, if they're driving there, shouldn't we be able to say driver's license?
Correct?
Because I think I can leave driver's license. They're driving there.
Well,
you're right, if
I
they were-
think it's
What if
really
they're
a
biking?
shame that Kristen's not here. Because she gets it, because if some, yeah, we need to have the vehicle registration and something else.
car
Sometimes
regist-
the driver's license, and
Okay.
sometimes it's not that, because sometimes it's a renter, and sometimes that's what they need to show. And, you know, because that,
Right.
you know, it just, the situations they change. Yeah, we just need to be able to ask for 2 things. That's all.
And I can let government photo ID, that's fine.
Is there, if a person drives in their car and they want a town pass, why don't we just say registration and license?
We only come into problems if they're new to town, none of that's been changed yet, or if, for example,
They're seasonal.
yeah, seasonal. Like, for example, if they own a house on the lake, but they actually live in New York, but because they own a house on the lake, they are technically landowners. So there has to be more than just registration and driver's license. We have to accept the tax bill, and we have to accept, if they're brand new and nothing's been changed over, a utility something. So you're right. Most people, that should be all we need, but there's always going to be a few exceptions to the rule. So we do have to allow a couple more things.
And what happens is we have people that own property. Like this happened last week, where somebody gives the last name, but it's not actually them. And then you find out that it's like, they're just coming and spending the weekend.
And the best part was Lisa saw the persons whose name they were using the next day. And she's like, hey, somebody was using your name. You try to buy a pass, because she knew them.
Yeah. Well, it was a little bit, yeah, there was more to that, but yes, there was a last name that was given that wasn't the person, and then come to find out it was somebody else. And then it's, well, we're staying with them for the summer, but you know, it's like, if I have my cousins come stay here for the summer, they don't get a pass on their car. You know what I mean? Just because they're staying with me.
Right.
Um,
They're
so-
riding with.
Yeah.
Mhm. All
So
right.
that's when we'd want a utility bill, something to prove that there's some sort of, anyway.
So does everybody like that where we can write two forms required and then we can list?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
Dave? Is that a
Yes.
yes? No, okay, John? And I'll change the government issued ID. I mean, that's fine. I don't care. It doesn't have to be a driver's license. What do you think, John?
Hang on. Let me go see if Kristen's still up. Hang on.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I talked to Kristen about this today. So again, because it's been such a headache.
All right, while we're waiting for that, I think almost everybody knows, we've had many police calls for people trespassing when the park is closed. In the evenings, during the day, we had public comment today about the opening the gates. There's really a lot more to it with police. It can't be unmanned. It cannot be unmanned. So unless volunteers physically stepped up and committed and went through the whole training process of inspecting boats, cleaning the restroom, which I don't foresee happening. If that happens, we can visit it then. But
I
no-
don't see volunteers being able or being
They're being
willing to put up with the abuse.
where
Yeah,
would
that
the
staff
abuse
gets.
the abuse is awful. I had people that were smoking there on Sunday who the guy went behind a tree and was swearing at me under his breath. Not, he turned and walked away, which is why I didn't tell him he had to leave, because it's gotten to a point where I've gotten used to that kind of disrespectful behavior, and people that are on the lines, the swim lines, bouncing up and down after we just had volunteers put them out.
If someone actually shows up and says, I want to volunteer to help open the park during the week, we can talk to them then, and we can explain to them what's actually required of the staff and see where it goes from there. I don't foresee it happening. Suzanne Cooey casually mentioned she'd watch it, but it was a casual mention. It wasn't a, what can I do? What's the next step? I want to do it. It was kind of more of a,
well, I mean, if she's
Okay.
willing to do it, it'll have to be her and at least 2 or 3 other people, and they'd have to be there. They'd have to be there 70 or 80 hours a week right now. And they'd have to be willing to clean the bathrooms every half an hour and deal with the stuff that our staff had to deal with and has
Right.
to deal with it every day.
right.
The
So-
other thing too is they're accepting money. If they're not an employee, where's their responsibility for them to turn the money in?
Right. Oh, no,
You know?
all right, that's the whole thing. They didn't want it to be that. I don't, that's a good
I
point.
think she wants it to be free, which
know.
is another whole bag of
Mhm.
worms.
Mhm. I think you're right, Pam. I think you're absolutely right.
Okay, guys, I got Kristen, so hang on. I'm going to put her on so she can talk to you guys about the registration fees.
So Kristen, do you want to listen to the idea or do you want to talk?
Go ahead.
Okay, so at the bottom of the sheet that tells you how much the prices are, it currently says residency proof can be current car registration, comma, driver's license, comma, rental agreement, comma, tax bill, or current utility bill. And in light of how much difficulty you've been having lately, we want to change it to proof of residency will be 2 forms of the following, or 2, we'll get it worded correctly, basically to mean that 2 of these are you need to have 2 of these. They're required to have 2 of these. And we're going to change driver's license to government issued photo ID in case somebody's walking in and wants to buy a pass, I guess. What do you think?
First, no one can walk in and buy a pass because passes are only issued to a boat or a vehicle.
Right, so they'd have the $2, we have walk-ins $2 per person if they don't have a pass, so they'd have to prove they're resident.
And so more often than not, our walk-ins are children, and children don't have ID.
Right.
So,
Yeah, there was a woman there the other day that said that her kids would be coming during while she was at work, and they were very young kids. And I tried to explain to her that we don't always have a lifeguard, and that, our staff is not responsible, but
Do we have to have an age?
they were very young kids who went to the beach.
Do we have to have an age for unattended minors now?
You already have a sign that says that children under 11 aren't allowed without an adult present.
11. Wow. Okay.
With them, and these are children that are, so I think that they were younger, but one of them was younger.
Okay. I didn't know
So
that.
I'm asking permission to speak freely for a moment.
Yes, please.
I really want you to step back for a second. How many battles are we willing to fight on this? We have done really well last year, and I feel like now we're just trying to nitpick everything. Can you take a step back from this for a second? Like, you observed me the other day, Janine, working with these people. If we speak plainly and we remain calm, there's nothing that we can't solve, right? Like, we can say to them, in order to affix it onto your vehicle, I need your vehicle's registration. I don't have my registration. I'm sorry that you don't have your registration. Bring it back and I'll be happy to affix it at that point. If someone is coming in and they're trying to say that they're a resident and they just want their day pass, that's fine. I'll take your ID and charge you the $5. But when you come back in your vehicle, I want to see your vehicle registration before I'm going to affix a sticker. That's a simple request, I think. I think the difference for me is there are some people who will come in and they'll have their IDs and will use their ID to find them in the tax book. And then I'm very comfortable affixing it. It's when they come in and they say, I don't have my registration. I don't have a utility bill. I don't appear in the tax booklet, but I'm a resident. Then it looks a little different, right? I want a second piece of identification or a third piece or something that proves that they're truly a resident. But I don't want to make it harder, because once we do go to the 19th and we're training the kids more on looking people up, because we've made it past these really heavy selling weekends, I don't want to make it so that these kids lose their mind. Our staff is younger than it's ever been in my 3 years. And I'm worried about this. I'm worried about how hard we're making it.
Do you want to say that we may require?
Yeah.
Up to 3 of the
I just
five?
think that I see, and this is the part where I agree with Kristen. I think my concern was that we remove the or, that we require this. As long as we're comfortable, we're all set. If we're not comfortable because we have these circumstances where somebody shows up and we know like the other day when Kristen had somebody she knew was from out of town, that's when it's, well, I need this. So,
I can
it is very difficult.
I can just cross out the were, are, or, and it can just be residency proof can be current registration, driver's license, rental agreement, tax bill, utility bill. And then there's not fine print of how many of those, but I want to know, Kristen, I'm not there. I observed once or twice, but like you just said, there's different cases, and I want you to be covered. If you feel you need 2 or 3 pieces, what do you think the good wording is going to be? I can write may require up to 3 of the following, or I can just scratch out the word or.
I like may require up to.
Yeah. I mean, we're being reasonable. Kristen's not denying anybody. It's when we have those situations.
I want to cover her when somebody's giving her a really hard time and she knows they're not a resident.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think, Kristen?
The kids are going to come get you, Kristen, and go, hey, I don't know what happened here. This is different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you're going to be able to say to them, like you said to that other person the other day, I need that rental agreement, because you know that there's cause for question.
Right.
I think the may require up to 3 of the following and then list.
Okay. I just, what I would like to know is, as a legal driver, aren't you required to drive with your registration?
Yes.
I believe if you get pulled over without your registration, you have 24, registration or license, you have 24 hours to provide the proof because they can look it up with your plates and to see if you're registered because you're in the computer system. Because an unregistered car, you get impounded immediately. So I know with a license, you have 24 hours to provide proof that you are a licensed driver. But, you know, so if you're driving an unregistered vehicle, it's going to be impounded. But if you don't have your registration on you, I'm assuming they give you time to prove it because they can look it up from the license plate.
Because the truth is, people on social media get a little bit upset about the fact that Cold Springs residents receive stickers, right? They claim that they're out of state or whatnot, but those are some of the easiest people to look up because they are tax-paying members of our community. What I worry about is if we make it such a high bar, then we have people who go out of their way to be deceptive with trying to get in. And so the case of that really, what I thought used to be a decent human the other day, proved how people are deceitful, right? And with our staff being so young, I worry about them trying harder. I don't know.
No, you're right. I mean, if they're being deceitful with an adult that full well knows that they sold their house and moved out of town last year, how easy are they going to think it is for a couple teenagers?
Right. And we don't know that he's not going to come back on a different day or try it. Just like the older gentleman who wanted his son to take his senior pass and register at his household when they didn't live there. Their boats were not registered there. And the difference that we're talking about is $40 for someone who has the financial means to own two jet skis and a boat versus $20 for a season, even though they're docking them for the entire year.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's going to be a one-time fee. Their day pass is going to be used once because they're going in. So if it says residency proof may require up to 3 of the following: current car registration, government issued photo ID, rental agreement, tax bill.
That gives you flexibility, Kristen.
Current utility bill. Does that give you safeguard flexibility?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Kristen. So sorry to bother you.
Thank
No,
you.
it's no bother at all.
Thank you.
Yep.
Right. We talked a little bit about the closed beach and the police calls. I think we kind of all feel in agreement. The beach is closed, you're trespassing, the police are going to get called.
Yeah, there were people down there tonight with the dog.
Yeah. I mean, if like I was able to walk up and ask them to leave and they begrudgingly left, I didn't need to call the police. If that's the situation, that can be done if they have to be called. I'm just kind of foreseeing now that the Scout Pack is going to be camping this weekend, and I believe they're going Saturday to Sunday, so I don't think any gates need to be open for them. The 12th to the 13th, is that Friday again? Or Saturday?
No,
Is it
it's Saturday.
Saturday. Okay, so they'll be entering the park when it's open, and they'll be exiting the park when it's open. So no gates have to be unlocked for them. So that's good. Okay. All right.
So can I just ask a quick question? So if somebody walks in when the gates close, goes down to the beach to swim, that's trespassing.
Yes. Because, yep.
Well, I was just wondering, being new, is there a way that I could get a copy of that lease document just so I could get familiar with the rules? Or
Yeah, I think we could. Isn't that at the town offices, Janine? We've got it somewhere.
I have a copy somewhere. It's a really bad photocopy of something from 1940 something.
You know, it's interesting because I've been in town. I'm not going to tell you how long, but when I was in high school,
longer than me,
we went in there all the there was a diving board. We were in there always.
Right.
At school and go.
Right.
So I think the reason I ask is sometimes communicating the reason why, and if there is lease documents that drive us back to make these rules, maybe eventually just somebody like Susan Cowie to be able to say, Susan, we have this lease document.
Yep.
We kind of followed it 30 years ago, but now there's a lot more liability.
I thought about that too on the way home tonight, because 2 years ago when I first started proposing and asking the questions of why it can't be town only, and the lease was brought up, I did go to town hall before I was on the board and dig into it and get copies of the lease. I think I took pictures, which is why they're horrible copies. And because I was looking into the gating and the policing and the requirements. And I did share all those documents at all the meetings, so I have no problem sharing any of the documents. And I thought about making a park post showing the lease and sharing the lease and explain that. Because last week, after I'd asked those people to leave the lake and they were upset and publicly speaking about it, I made a post the next day, just a public post explaining that the lake was not open, that this is how, it was not closed specially for the scouts, it was just not open, and this is how you get permission, and this is who you should ask. And again, just today, when people were asked to leave by the police, it was brand new, like nobody had ever read anything. It didn't even matter, they didn't care that there were rules or anything, so I thought to myself, I could definitely share the lease, and there probably would be 5 or 6 people that would read it, and
Well,
maybe 3 of them would remember it.
Maybe not even putting the whole lease on there, and I'd be happy to go through it, but pulling out some key pieces that you would just say, here's what drives us to these rules.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I might add is that there are times when, through proper documentation and whatever, the town grants groups like Boy Scouts, schools, whatever, to use the park outside of park hours.
Yep.
So that there isn't this, well, why do the Boy Scouts get to be there?
And I did exactly state that groups are able to use it after hours, and how they did have to do a facility use form, how it had to be approved, and how it had to be accompanied with park. That was in part of the post that I made, but who read it is really a good question.
Where are you posting that? Is that on the Park and Recs page? Yeah, it
I
is.
posted it on the Parks and Recs page, and within 5 minutes of posting it, an admin of the We Are Where New Hampshire group, he shared it. So it got seen by supposedly 1,000 people or so, but they probably read the first sentence, and commented. So,
Inevitably, you're going to have people do that, as long as you can always point them back to your primary page and say, if you have a question, look.
yeah, and I did exactly, because I even said you can message us here. Here's our email. Absolutely. And I'm not opposed to sharing the lease. Public information, it's at the town office. There's nothing private about it. And I agree with you, because it may help with some of the argument.
Last year, when they were talking about the fact that they couldn't restrict out of town people, I wasn't aware that the lease had to be open to.
Public is not defined.
Yeah.
It doesn't say.
It was the town attorney who said it's just not worth fighting that, because then if we were to try to keep it to where residents only, then possibly somebody who wanted the lease to just come to an end could argue that we changed public. So because it's not defined, they didn't want us to fight that.
I guess my point is only that the more we don't have to put the whole lease there, but the more we tell them, then we have somebody like Susan, who I know is trying to just advocate for what she believes is right, but we can simply say, appreciate it, but really our hands are tied.
Absolutely. And it's not a long lease. It's a page, maybe 2.
Yeah.
It's not too
It's
long.
also, there's what people don't understand is, without being there and dealing with what you have to deal with when it's properly staffed, wouldn't even understand what the risks are when there's nobody there.
If someone steps up to volunteer, we will require them to work a full day with Kristen on 90-degree weather.
Well, I'm retired and I'm not going to volunteer, I can tell you.
Can we scare you?
And they can start with the bathroom duty from Sunday.
Right?
Nope.
Absolutely. No, I like that. I can probably email you the pictures that I have of the lease. That might be clear enough. I think I have them on the computer.
I would just like to become familiar with it if somebody would.
No. I'm all about sharing information. That is one of my most favorite things. I'm an oversharer, most people will call me. All right. So John brought up that there's a street lamp in the sand at Chase Park. Lisa, I defer to my expert historian. Is that have power to it? Did that thing ever work? What's the?
So I actually don't go there at night when it's not when the park's closed because I follow the rules. So I'm a rule
Yeah, I
follower.
was there for a camp out. I was supposed to be there.
Did you notice that the light was on at your camp out?
No, I didn't see if the light was on.
So I'm unsure whether it works or not, and unsure whether there's power. And I have not. I know John brought that up last week. I have not been able to follow up on that. I have been pretty out straight with all of the complaints from.
If it had power, it would be an awesome deterrent.
It would be wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I can message one of the neighbors and see.
Yeah, they would probably know if it worked. All right. Opening day. Let's see. Since the park opened, we sold, we had 115 hours of labor and we sold 43 passes. So, this is, actually, hang on, this might just be the first weekend. So this is just Memorial Day weekend that we sold.
Yeah, that's not the whole thing.
Okay, so that's not the next. All right. It looks like I have hours for both weekends, but I only have the tallies of passes for the first weekend. So we have, and most of the staff worked, between 4 and 8 hours. And then obviously Kristen working a multitude because she's well, not a huge multitude. She worked 29 hours, but that was in 2 weekends. So the park receipt tallies on Memorial Day weekend only, we sold 7 resident senior veteran car passes. We sold 12 senior boat jet ski passes, 9 resident season car passes, and 14, so that was hold on, yep. And then 14 regular resident jet ski passes, 1 non-resident boat pass.
That was a rainy weekend, so.
Question?
I was just gonna say it's a rainy weekend, so I'm sorry. We're getting public comment from somebody who doesn't need to be making any public comment.
Oh, please. That's funny. State your name and your address. What's your question? He probably doesn't want to be on record.
I have to mute him, sorry.
No, that's okay. So the park brought in, let's see, 280 plus 50, 330, and the rest were free for seniors. So $330 on that weekend. A rainy, yucky weekend. Thank you to the staff that endured. That was so cold. There was a heater in there. If anybody has if anybody has nothing else about Chase Park, I'm gonna move forward. And go really fast to the last. Okay, good. Library, I dropped off the lawn games to Clay, the director who was with us earlier. He had to leave because we take forever. The summer reading kickoff is June 24th, 6:30 p.m. I volunteered to help set up and run games. If anybody else would like to join us, feel free. We touched a little bit base about the lake passes. So Kristen had brought up the concern of the people coming in for the library time and staying the whole day without having paid. And it's not right for anybody to be granted a free day pass. So we're trying to and I should have asked this to Kristen and I meant to and I forgot. So Kristen had come up with the idea of having them check out a pass at the library, and Clay was concerned that was going to discourage people from going to story time if they had to make a stop at the library versus they could just decide on a whim to go to story time and just drive straight to the lake versus having to go to the library first and check out a pass and see when they're open and have a library card and all that. So what if we had passes at the gatehouse when they came in, if they didn't have a pass already? And that's the only people it's for, is the ones that haven't purchased a pass. Say, I'm here for story time. They get the piece of paper, it goes in the windshield. Maybe it's a special color and it says
They
how
have
long.
to give it when they come back.
And
They have to give it back when they leave.
And they
Yeah,
turn
Kristen, yeah, Kristen's already made them, or she was in the process of making them, and they are a nice special color.
So we just need to run it by Kristen if maybe they can just be at the gatehouse instead of us asking them to make a special trip to the library. I see Clay's point. And if that would be, because I see Kristen's point. So if people like that idea, comments?
Don't they
It's a great idea.
don't they have a library card anyways?
The library card, maybe. I mean, you can go to the library and you can read anything you want. You only have to have a card to check it out.
Okay.
But even if they have a library card, they may not have paid to get admittance to the lake. So
I
we're
was-
trying to prevent it so they don't have to buy a lake pass.
Clay could just remind them, if you do have a library card, bring it with you for proof.
Right.
Yeah, I
Right.
don't think we even need the library card. They can just,
Yeah.
We don't need the library card. We just need to know they're there for story time and they're not staying free for the day.
How often is this story time, and are we wasting so much of our valuable time on something that's only going to happen once a month or once a
It's once a week. It's all summer, and Kristen already made up the pieces of paper. I'm
Yeah,
just deciding on where we're going to put them. It's
Yeah.
Kristen not wanting the people to, it was her concern.
it was her concern because of issues in the past with people just coming in and like free for the day with whoever they had in their car
And
saying,
I know people go from car to car and see who has a pass in their dashboard, who has a sticker on their car. I know people are looking. I've heard people counting them before. How many out of towners there are and stuff. So I like the idea if Kristen's okay with it being at the gatehouse. All right, nobody said no. I like it.
I like it.
Pickleball demos. I don't know why I still have that on there. You're doing that with the library?
Yeah, they moved it up to June because of the possible court closings in July.
Okay, okay.
I just found out I have to be out of town. I'm going to be deployed on a disaster relief mission, but I'm going to get some of the group members to do it for Clay. I've already talked to him about it.
All right, so it'll still go on.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, and unless anybody has anything to mention about Inison, Purington, or the gazebo. Now that
There
the
was an
couch-
email about Inison that maybe, I don't know if you want to talk about, but there's been, I just think that maybe we need to just talk to Parks and Rec about asking coaches again to make sure, and parents, families, to make sure they're cleaning up after themselves at the fields.
Talk to WAC.
Yeah.
So
Oh, sorry, whack. That's what I'm.
if I can address that.
Yeah.
When I left Inison at 4:25 on Saturday, the park looked like it had just opened, Inison Field. There was no trash anywhere, and I spent all day there. Everyone, I mean, my trash can at the snack shack was full. So I know people were walking across the field to come and put trash in the barrel. So this Volpe person, whatever he saw happened after Saturday, after softball was
closed.
done. So,
Okay.
I mean, unless he went digging for stuff like on the very far edges of the parking lot that, you don't really see.
Those stuff that blows around in the bushes.
Yeah, but there, I mean, the field and the parking lots were clean when I
Looks
left,
good.
because I always look for stuff that's left over. And I did not see anything.
So yeah, I'll leave that up to you, Lisa, if you wanted to, if you want to.
I'll look, I'm right down the road. I'll go check and just
But I
make sure
hear you,
it's.
I hear you, Pam, on the, I mean, if you really look for trash, you can definitely find it. And then we're not denying that there's trash there, and, we know.
Yeah. There's trash
know.
everywhere, but
There is. All right, so unless there's any concerns, Purington, I've been hearing a lot less dandelion talk, so that must be going good.
Oh, thank God.
The gazebo couch crisis is averted. So I think we had a couch deposited in the gazebo. That all got settled. That was removed. Okay, so just future business. We need to start talking in the fall, CIP for the long-term tennis courts being completely redone. We need to get talking about that in the fall. It's always on here, the separate account for park, the revolving fund. I know that was always getting looked into. And then I entertained the idea of bylaws when we were going to be slow, which has never happened. We'll talk about the Christmas tree in the gazebo in September. But we may want to talk to the Historic Society if they're doing a lighted tree anyway. I don't know. We'll see about that. Maybe we'll just do lights in the gazebo. We'll talk about that. And then the town hall booking for pumpkins. pumpkin hunting in the fall and senior baskets, because if they haven't spent a dime and fall rolls around, we may want to do the fall baskets again. Unless
I love
anybody,
doing those.
say again,
I love doing the fall baskets. That was so much fun.
I
So
totally did.
the ones at Christmas time or
Yes.
Thanksgiving?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
those were great.
winter. I mean, December 21st is technically the first day of winter, so we really started doing it in the fall. So,
Yeah.
but I drive by houses that we delivered to and it makes me smile.
Yep.
Yeah. It was really a lot of fun. And it was so sweet. Those nice people wrote us little notes and
That
oh my
was-
gosh, really,
that's
especially
wonderful.
with everything from last year, it was just wonderful.
So I definitely want to visit that in the fall. So unless anybody has anything else to talk about, I want to make, okay. So there was going to be some non-public. John kind of made a mention about just 2 cents of, do we want to wait until we're in person?
I don't think so. I think we should cover the non-public
Okay. just-
because it's yeah, I have to.
Anybody
it's
just has
it's
to
important.
promise that non-members are coming in, that no non-members are sharing in the room.
Were we also going to talk real quick about that Christmas party?
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes. So-
I'm gonna throw in my 2 cents because I was on the Historical Society and I did help them. It's a lot of work. And I asked about how many members they have because it really is, it takes a lot of people to do this. They have a lot of members. And I'm not saying we don't help, but we have to be very careful we don't get in over our heads.
It was interesting when we were asking her what she really needed and she didn't.
It sounds like she just wants some younger, maybe they want some younger help or something, or maybe they're not getting help from their actual members. I'm not sure.
Lots of people because every craft station needs 1 or 2 people because these little kids come in. I mean, I manned one of the craft stations. The food table has to be manned. The auction has to be manned. They need 20, 30 people in there to manage this. And I'm not saying we don't help, but I think we have to be careful because their members should be stepping up too.
Yeah,
Right.
and I have to say, when she was talking, all I could think is, oh my God, Lisa, you're committed to way too much. I mean, my kids are playing, 2 and, there's 3 of them and they're all double up on sports teams every season. And I work extra jobs. I have a full-time teaching job and I work a seasonal job at Pat's Peak and I work a seasonal job at the lake and I work, and then I've got this stuff and I volunteer not only on here, but on 2 other committees.
Right.
And we have foster dogs and everything else. I don't know how much more I can possibly offer.
For me personally, being December 5th, a Sunday, unless I'm skiing at Pat's Peak, which they close at like 4 o'clock on Sundays, I can physically be there on the actual 5th and man a craft station or man the food table. Because I mean, I left, scouts and I did a lot of that stuff when they had their monthly pack meetings. And I pretty much only really commit to volunteering here other than work and driving the kids around. But in the winter, it slows down a little bit for me other than skiing. So I would volunteer to help on the actual 5th. I don't know how much before prepping I'd be able to do, but the actual standing there for the crafts or standing there for the food or helping set up or decorations, that doesn't bother me. That one day commitment, I mean, I give the whole day. I don't care. I give 12 hours for that one day. It's the pre-stuff. So if anybody else wanted to personally commit to that day or to anything, I could definitely write that in the email. If nobody else wanted to, I could just specifically state, I can help,
I can't plan that, but that far ahead of time, I'm probably going to have, I don't know whether they're basketball or I have no idea what they're going to be doing.
You could be working at Pat's Peak.
And I'm willing to go help too, but it's very hard right now. In my, I don't know, like if we're going to be in Florida or not. It's hard to make a commitment.
Right.
And I'm even willing to bake something and take it down too.
Yeah, see, and that would help her. And I think her feelers was there even a slight bit of interest? Because then in September, I think she'd revisit it and get commitments.
Right.
I think she just didn't want to go down that alley if we're like, nope, too busy. We're doing a big Christmas party ourselves or something silly. But so I could definitely say,
step up too, because their members, I think part of her issue is they're not getting their members to step up to their Christmas party.
Right, right, which I can't really help them with that part, but I mean, if the Girl Scouts in the library are willing to help too, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So if anybody, so I could definitely write back the email that there is, that myself, I'm interested, and there's a member or two that's possibly able to help, whether it's making food or setting up. But we'd love to hear more in September for, a definite commitment. Does that sound good to people?
Yes, for me.
Okay, Pam? Pam says I'm either out of the room or no idea. Dave?
No, I'm sorry.
You're fine, Pam. It's not that important. It's important, but not. Sorry, Pam, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. This was for the holiday party.
Yeah, the Historic Society's Christmas, December 5th holiday party.
That's John's birthday weekend, so I won't be available to help that day.
Cassie's
I
birthday
might-
weekend too, but don't tell her.
Yeah, I might be able to make a treat or something. But
Right.
again, right now I can't commit to much.
Nope. I completely understand. Dave?
I'm in the same boat as it gets into fall or into winter sports, and I don't know what the
Okay.
girls are doing. So at this point, I can't commit to
You,
stuff.
Dave, I mean, you only have, 1, 2, 3, 4, few kids. Can't imagine how you could be busy. I'm just kidding. All right, so I'll definitely send out the email, and I'll include the library, and I'll include the Girl Scouts, and I'll mention that, that there's a chance that there's a small bit of volunteering from PARC. And I can include all of us on it just so we can read it, and you can yell at me if I say anything wrong, but okay. All right, thank you for bringing that up. I totally had forgotten about that, Denise. Anything else I forgot about? Okay. I make a motion to adjourn. Wait, oh, sorry. Okay. John and Naomi are gonna have to help us move into non-public because I don't know how to do it.
I will
Unless,
not be attending the non-public. I disagree with going into it. Speaking as a selectman, we've elected not to do that via Zoom for security reasons. So I would recommend that we have the non-public in person. If you elect to do that, that's fine. I will be stepping out.
did the Board of Selectmen make the decision on whether or not we're allowed to meet in person, John?
Starting, I believe it's going to be July, yes.
So our July meeting can be in person.
As of right now, that's
So then
correct.
I'll make the decision on my own about what happened at the park. Then if we're not gonna meet, or can we meet in person?
We can meet in person starting in July, but he also said we can meet non-public. He's just gonna step out because he doesn't agree.
Okay,
So,
In the interest of time, it's 10 o'clock. I'm fading like really fast.
yeah, it's
So-
probably a 10 minute, it's probably 10 minutes.
not even.
Okay. If you leave us, Pam, it's fine. I don't think we're voting on anything. I think we're just talking. Naomi, can Naomi help us on what we need to say for the non-public? Do we have to vote to go into non-public? I don't remember how to do it.
Well, typically you make a motion to go into non-public. You state the RSA 91A3, Roman numeral 2, probably C, if I'm guessing what you're
Naomi,
going
can you
into.
repeat that again? RSA 91A.
91A3, A:3, Roman numeral 2. And it's small c in parentheses. It's, somebody makes that motion, somebody seconds it, and then you have to have a roll call vote.
Lisa,
And then you stand in non-public.
you want to make a motion? Lisa?
But once you make that motion, before you start talking, I have to stop the
Right.
recording.
One-
And are you going to adjourn
Yes.
afterwards?
Yes.
Okay, so you just need to tell everybody that you're going to go into non-public and then you're going to
Okay.
adjourn afterwards.
All right, so we're gonna go into non-public and we're going to adjourn afterwards, so we will not be coming back on camera. So I make a motion to go into non-public with RSA 91A, semicolon 3, Roman numeral 2, small c.
I second.
Okay, roll call. Lisa,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Denise,
Yes.
John,
No.
all right. It passes with majority.
Have a good night, folks.
Good night, John.
John.